on your show, you're like, Andy wants to believe it's true. I was right.
You know what I was doing, Andy?
What?
Lying. I was lying.
Yo,
and I appreciate your respect as a man.
It's
while I'm
fucking
talking
wild.
about that, to have both your hands above the screen. I do appreciate it.
That dude guy was fucking scumbag himself.
You're a godly man.
Still so funny to listen to.
Casino for May 26, 2024. Oh, what a few days it has been since last we were live with Josh Moon.
Retweet.
No, I mixed it up. It's fucking up.
Retweet.
Hasn't it been quite a few wonderful fucking days?
I need 100 RT.
Full news report. Yes. Before we get into it, we need retweets on the tweet that's pinned. We need you to subscribe to the clip channel because this is all going to be clipped up after.
Maybe I'll have to restart my PC, but I'm not gonna do that.
We get the article. We get the Fox News
Oh,
9 article. Regional Minnesota News confirming Rekieta lives in a slovenly, disgusting, moldy, dirty, festering crack den. Just a filthy drug den. Clothes all over the place, dirty dishes, mold, filth on the floors. It was looking like the cockroaches crack shop.
Actually fucking wild.
This is what Nick Rekieta was living in.
At least Cock.
5 children. At least Cock didn't have
Green Lobster, welcome to the stream.
in the festering, shitty f***ing mess rackets.
Right?
What the f*** is wrong with this bum?
When I read that article.
But could we even be surprised? He couldn't even be bothered to feed his kids SpaghettiOs, folks. So why are we surprised he couldn't even be bothered to clean up the
everything, isn't
of
it?
the drug den? Or his wife take even 5 minutes out of her Xanax-fueled Star Trek day to fucking clean the mess of the filthy crack den? Disgusting. Children living there. Rekieta endangering his child by refusing to open the door for law enforcement, even though they had a warrant, to where they they rammed down the door in his little daughter's face. She like 12 years old? This is Rekieta's choices. This is the man that Nicholas
A house doesn't get like that after a few days or even a few weeks. This was going on for minimally months.
Filthy polycule mistress.
Yeah, I mean, I think people speculate at least 2 years. It started 2 years ago, and it's been getting worse and worse since then.
This man.
Yeah, leading to what happened this past week.
Oh, it's okay.
And I don't know if you listened to this one, but Aaron Immels, the ex-husband of the woman who lived with them, he saw how this shit happened firsthand, and the story is still fucking wild.
Mercy elsewhere.
May I?
No mercy in this casino for Rekieta. There's a child abuse neglect charge, either physical or sexual abuse.
May I say one
thing? I'm gonna get physical abuse instead of sexual abuse. But when you have to cop the plea to either or, and the lesser of two evils is that we beat our kids, or that we
It's sad I've followed Nick for 5 to 6 years now.
To drugs, guess fucking what? It's not good.
Let's go. You're right, Ashton.
It's filth. Are you kidding me?
You uncivil law.
This is what we're supposed to
accept.
Sad. That was wrong.
Only the children's situation is sad in all of this. Nick kind of did this himself. No sympathy for a piece of shit like that who does that.
Yes, because he fucking is. He might have saved those children's
lives. He burns for this.
Let's be real. He might have actually saved.
It actually let your fucking children go hungry and dirty.
Well. He did. And the lives of April. Because
and the same mother as well, Kayla.
They had an ounce of
both pieces of shit. Everyone involved in this was a piece of shit.
What are we fucking talking about here? They have spent gun shells on the floor. They're shooting. They're either one shooting off guns.
Fuck, man, this shit's so wild.
in a house with 5 children.
Oh boy.
Or 2, they're taking the fucking gunpowder
My
and
fucking
mixing
mix
it
it
with
up. It's just
cocaine.
fucking
Like some
hell.
sort, they're
No
like
special effects
seriously,
today,
like some
sadly.
sort of fucking African warlord, like fucking, like junkies that are fucking insane. What are we doing here,
Very sad for the kids. Not
for
him.
real.
I was
Okay,
an
look, all right,
addict and I've been
first
clean
of
for
all,
10 years now.
Aaron is
I
from
feel
Steel
awful
Toe-
for those
From
kids.
Steel Toe Morning
Luckily,
Show
I
will
don't
be here
have any.
Soon, right? Here's
Uh,
this. Now,
good
by
on
the way,
you, man,
he's
for
ready to
staying
reveal
clean.
everything.
Big ups.
And this is what he
Yes.
DM'd me. Okay, he's gonna be
I
on
know
soon,
it's
but here
probably not
it is.
easy.
Dude, the police report does not
But yeah,
do the,
yeah.
what was happening at the House Justice.
I
He-
myself also
he said,
indulge
Andy,
on some
I'm ready
recreational drugs
to
from time to
expose
time.
Every
But
little
never like this.
thing tonight.
That's
Good.
You
know what? And I'll say
can't
this.
let it get this
He's
far.
ready.
Look,
And
there will be some hard balls towards him,
That-
obviously. But I'll say one
Embarrassing
thing.
your family
At
members,
least the
embarrassing your friends,
motherfucker
embarrassing
got
your
out and did the right
wife.
thing. At least the motherfucker, look, we've
Letting
all
everyone
done fucking
down.
stupid shit in our lives, and you know,
Dropping
I've
the
been
ball
at that
massively,
phase where
man,
you're on
but
drugs,
what a
you're all fucked
waste.
up. But at least he woke up and was like, you know what? This has to stop. I'm gonna fucking try to like make things right, and I respect that. I gotta respect that.
I mean, the truth
Seriously.
will set you free,
Fire
Aaron.
up a
Once
game.
you get it all
Yeah.
off your chest, once it's all out there in the world, you will have done the right thing. I'm just saying, guys, let's give him a chance here.
Yes.
Let's give him a chance to speak the truth, to embarrass Ricada, to destroy him.
Yes.
Because right now, I'm telling you this. We're actually in danger of seeing the public narrative become that Ricada was the victim.
Yes.
Already,
Yeah, fuck me, man.
LawTube is
People
trying
actually
to either
trying
blame
to
it on
spin
the
that narrative.
pastor, which is insane, or even worse, blame it on the children.
Yeah.
Like, whoa!
I love these fucking pieces of shit. They go after people like us, going, "Oh, these guys are drama farming." When meanwhile,
You know what?
you all
We're honest. No.
you
We're
all-
honest.
What? Well, yes.
We're
well,
honest about it.
Well, yes.
We are drama farming. But you know
Yes.
what? We actually are doing more of what's righteous than
True.
what you guys are.
Yes.
Because we were blowing the whistle. We were sounding the alarm. There's something not right here. Won't somebody intervene? Won't somebody do something? And every one of you LawTube bums didn't lift a single fucking finger to help this fucking family.
And now we're
To help the
pieces of shit.
children,
Look,
to help. No, we're the pieces
We're
of
pieces of shit now
for
because-
laughing at him,
Laughing.
exposing it,
Oh, we're
telling him
exposing
to
it.
get fucking help. And there were speeches that I gave during this Ricada arc where it was like real, like come to Jesus, fire and brimstone preaching. Ricada, you have children. Ricada, you can't do this. Ricada, we care about you. Don't fucking burn it all down. And he didn't fucking listen.
Yeah.
He refused to listen, and even still, he
Yeah,
defends
fuck
his
this guy.
behavior. Even still, he's completely coping. He's telling all of you, me, you, everybody, you didn't see what you saw. You know,
They
you
did
don't.
field tests. They did field tests.
They field tested it positive
Oh,
for
oh,
cocaine.
and
An
what's the other thing
ounce of
too?
cocaine.
But Ash, you know how bullshit this is. They go, we're covering it, so we're pieces of shit for covering it. When meanwhile, they're doing speculation. Da-da-da. What the is LawTube? That's all you guys do is watch other people suffer and cover it.
I
Shut
know.
the fuck up. You do the same
They're
shit.
no better
That's
than
your job.
anybody else.
That's your job.
That's what they do. That's
You
what
oh,
they do.
how about this? How about this? Oh, fucking when Amber Heard that case. Amber Heard before she was
Oh,
guilty.
wait,
or it was
hold on, no.
Oh, PPP with that photo
Shouldn't
looks
they
good.
have said that they deserve their privacy?
right?
Shouldn't
Right?
they have said, like, hey, don't
Yeah.
these people deserve their privacy even though she's shitting in the bed and cutting off this
Whoa.
guy's finger?
But guys, it
Don't
was a
they
bad
deserve
moment. It was a
privacy?
bad moment in their lives.
But we can't cover the polycule. We can't cover the cocaine, the ketamine, the child abuse, physical or sexual abuse. God only knows what the fuck is going on. We can't cover that. But you guys, it's totally okay.
Oh,
to
the
sweep-
Rittenhouse trial, right? The Rittenhouse trial, making fun of all the, and I agreed with them, with LawTube, all the people who were against Rittenhouse, but they weren't fucking like I didn't see you guys care. You made jokes, all this stuff, and that's
Oh, yeah.
fine. But,
No, but we
why
have
is
to
Nick
be
exempt?
reverent. No,
Why?
but Nick Ricada is a saint. He's a king.
He's a
He did
scumbag.
nothing wrong. And what's gonna happen, he's gonna come back. He's gonna say the police planted these drugs. He's gonna say he's like O.J. Simpson. This is a conspiracy against him for speaking out against Biden, for speaking out against elected officials. Everybody in LawTube's gonna give him a break, say, of course, he never did any drugs. He didn't have a problem with alcohol. He didn't endanger his children to the point that the pastor at the church felt the need to step in. No, 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 this is all Joe Biden's doing. This is a satanic pedophile cabal. Do you understand that the actions that Rekieta is doing are very similar to the actions that we accuse the satanic cabal of doing?
Yeah!
Like, the guy is swinging in a polycule, doing Hollywood lines of cocaine, going down K-holes on ketamine. Who knows if he's injecting this shit, doing the brown. He's mixing cocaine with fucking gunpowder. He's going to weird, like, hedonism events to have his wife
himself, isn't he?
black. Like, really? We're actually, like, this is what's gonna happen. It's gonna be
First
pivoted to,
house.
it's the Illuminati trying to put Rekieta down. He was an innocent, wholesome family man. And this is just it's all his own actions.
Yeah, how the
It's
fuck
all
do
his
you
own behavior.
turn
The
out like
Illuminati
that?
didn't make him go to the sodomy barn. The Illuminati did not make him put on the fucking baldo.
Damn it.
Joe Biden didn't make him snort that cocaine. Do you understand? Joe Biden didn't force him to store his guns all over the fucking place and fire them off like a crazy in the middle of the night. But this is the defense that we're gonna get. This is the defense. It's gonna be the craziest, wildest conspiracy ever. I'm telling you right now, there'll be no plea deal. Rekieta will fight this to the bitter end in the court of law to try and prove his innocence. He will gaslight his audience, tell you to reject the reality that your own eyes have seen, to reject the testimony that Aaron's about to give tonight, to reject the testimony that Sean's gonna give tonight of seeing one of his friends spiral and go down the fucking shitter and mentally deteriorate at the hands of substances. He's gonna tell you to just totally close your... You didn't see that. You didn't hear that. Don't believe your lying eyes. Instead, believe the Pope of LawTube. Well, we don't believe you because you're a lying sack of shit. You're an arrogant baldo-selling bum, and you're gonna be exposed tonight badly.
Nice.
And you're gonna be exposed tonight bigly. And I just hope that in some way this helps
I am
the family
tripping.
that he's shafted, because he really has shafted them. And what's fucked up is when a 400-pound Canadian
Then you're on the right, you're to the right stream
give
then.
more of a fuck about your children than you do.
For real!
You understand? Mr. Medicare was, I honestly, last night, guys, if you listen to Jim, he sounded on the verge of tears.
Or at the end? The last 20 minutes.
I kind of think he was, like, tears were coming from his
We
eyes.
might have to watch at
That's
the end
how
of the
much
show
he
that last
cares
20
about-
minutes, bro.
That's how much he cares about you and your family. But you don't. You don't. The only thing
It's a
you care
really,
about
really
is drugs. The only thing you
merciless-
care about is booze. The only thing you care about is sexual degeneracy and gooning and
How many
pushing it
times
to the
did I
next
die already?
extreme and the next extreme and the next extreme at the cost of everything around you. Because you're a
Sick.
degenerate, drug-addled fucking bum of a human being.
No.
You are no better than the junkies that the rest of us step over on the
Literally going in
fucking
hard on him.
sidewalk. You've given it all away
rightfully so.
for that next hit. And guaranteed right now, folks, he's still not sober.
No way!
He still hasn't checked himself into rehab. Because if he was to check himself into rehab, it'd
No,
be an
no,
admission
no.
of guilt. Sir, you're guilty.
Fuck!
There's no way around it. You're dead to fucking rights. They have you with an ounce of cocaine. They have you with 8 ketamine pills. They have you with with gunshots going off in
Mysterious
your
brown.
house.
Mysterious
With
brown
scales
substance.
in your house. April's probably already turned state and is going to testify against you that you were selling coke. You're gonna have to weave the most batshit insane conspiracy imaginable to try and make this go away. And
Yeah,
guess
good
what?
luck
It's
doing
not.
that.
You're guilty. You're guilty as f***. And you know what you should do? You should go to rehab. You should show some contrition. You should show some remorse and hope that the judge that you called a stupid bitch, both to her face in an elevator years ago,
Wait, I didn't hear about that.
Yes, he's called this judge a stupid bitch to her face in the past. Because his clients have lost in front of this judge. This judge, who you just on live stream were talking about, pussy, alcohol juice.
Pussy juice.
Pussy juice. The most demented shit I've ever heard. Calling her stupid and dumb and she doesn't understand the law. You understand, she's in charge of this case. You're not
You're a fucking judge, a fucking midget, and that's fucking hilarious.
Out.
That's so based.
You're gonna fight this to the bitter end.
Really came back and back
never,
in the ass, didn't it?
ever admit that you're wrong. And you know what's gonna happen after Aaron tells his truth tonight? Instead of Rekieta just shutting his fucking mouth and accepting it and fighting it in the court of law, he'll fire it up. He's gonna respond and he's gonna be pissed off. And we're gonna have a situation very similar to Vickers versus Ralph. That's what we're gonna have.
At a bigger scale. At a way bigger scale.
On a way bigger scale.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an absolute cluster, folks. So strap yourselves in.
He's here in half an hour.
Strap yourselves in. He's gonna be here in a half hour.
Yeah, and thanks, Ash. An amazing rant in the background there. I was talking with Aaron and with Flaked, making sure all the mics were set up proper, the cameras. We're all ready to. And the way he was DMing me, he's like, Andy, we're going for it. We're going all the way. He's like, and he even said, he goes, by the way, if while talking with about the kids I cry, please don't call me a. But no promises there.
Listen,
sorry. So I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Obviously.
I'm not here to call him names.
Me either. No, I'm just joking. Yeah.
But I'm here to just burn Rekieta down.
It's about time.
Because it's time. You know, he really sowed the wind. He's gonna reap the whirlwind on this shit.
Yeah. No, he has.
It'd be one thing if he'd shown any remorse at all. He should already be in rehab.
Yeah.
Instead, he's drunk and high. And you can sit there and cope. No, he's not. He's really taking this seriously. No, he's not.
Well, by the way, Ash, you know what's really funny? I have to say to you from the last show, I'm sorry. I was doubting you hard on the last show. I was like, this has to be his rock bottom. At least don't respond. You don't want to f yourself up in court. I understand. At least just shut the f up. But to come out and go, you're all pieces of shit. You know nothing of the situation. You know nothing? How about you shut the f up and log off for a second? But you were like, no, guys, this is not his rock bottom. And you were right. Ladies and gentlemen, I was doubting it, though. I was like, there's no way.
His rock bottom when he's still got all that money in the bank.
True.
He still has the house to live in. He still has probably his drug dealer connection that he can get drugs from. He's definitely not going to provide that to the police to help himself. You know?
Yeah.
You know, he's still got an ability to buy booze. And so he's just going to keep drinking. He's going to keep doing drugs. And people have said, oh, well, the conditions say he can't. Well, he's either going to be violating those conditions or apparently, and I don't know how much truth there is to this, and maybe Sean later on will shed some light.
Sean will be here soon, yep.
It's a bit to go
the full $50,000 and didn't use a bondsman, then those conditions not to drink and use drugs aren't on him, apparently. So I'm going to assume he did do that, went $50,000 out of pocket on his bail bond, and he's drunk as out of his mind doing drugs right now. And that's why he's battling with random people on Instagram.
He's on drugs right now watching.
Just echo Jim, like, is it worth it? Is it worth it to fight with these random people on Instagram? How about instead of fighting with those random people on Instagram, you'd spend that time getting clean? How about you spend that time apologizing to the family members that you've inconvenienced and embarrassed? How about you spend that time going into church today and apologizing to the members of the congregation and speaking to them and expressing your penitence? How about you spend that time checking into rehab? There are about a million more productive things you could be doing than arguing with random people on Instagram that don't matter at all. But he has to be right. He can never be wrong. And he can never just take it, even from some random loser. on
Right.
Instagram.
By the way, real funny too. So you were talking about earlier how you
Yeah, he's been saying a lot. He really can't shut up, and he's digging his own hole with that.
like you were very honest. Like you have to repent and
saying shit that could be used against me.
Ex-coke user, I was like, this will ruin your life. You have to stop now.
Jeff
Trust me, you
doesn't
can do it.
care.
Da-da-da-da. We were very like
Cocaine
motivational.
is one
But how
hell of
about
a
this,
drug.
Nick? The
And it
people
does that
that
to
you
your
hung
brain.
out with and let enable you, Dick Masterson, Ethan Ralph, all these f***s, they're all laughing at you now. How does it feel that you didn't listen to us because you thought we were a f***ing bunch of Canadians and listen to your buddies who, the minute you were arrested, fired up a stream and went, ha ha, f***
They
you,
laugh at you.
f*** you, couldn't be me, couldn't be me. Ralph instantly, I mean, who's shocked? Who is shocked? No
Instantly
one.
put that
We are
knife in your back.
instantly. If you listen to the two assholes who were giving you good advice, look, we are assholes. I'm not fucking lying about that, but we're assholes who speak a little bit of truth within our assholeness.
Well, I'd say a lot of truth.
A lot of
The reason why a lot of the commentary on this show hurts so much to the people who are on the receiving end of it is because it is true. We have 24 minutes, so let's try and get through some of the previous day's events just to refresh people who might not be familiar. So let's go into the Ricada Fox 9 article folder.
Okay. Oh, let me share that to you. Yep. I have it open. Let me just share it to you. 1 second. I was just talking.
And we'll go over this briefly. We'll go over some of the pictures from the bail hearing. Now, we weren't originally going to watch the entire bail hearing because it's like of dubious legality. However, Darkside Phil has reacted to the entire arraignment hearing. Yes.
Let's go!
I think we have no choice but to risk it for the biscuit.
Sheesh.
And at some point, either tonight or tomorrow, watch Darkside Phil's reaction. And I've watched some of it. It's so good. He's so smug. He's like, it's only been 2 weeks, guys, and already he's been arrested. Darkside just dabbing. Just dabbing on his grave. So here's the headline. Nick Ricada. I love just how his name rather is right in the headline. So anytime people search him up, I wonder if I should go on that show. This'll pop up. Nick Ricada, Minnesota lawyer and YouTuber facing drug charge, blames unknown man named Jim. Fox News got the whole story that he's blaming Mr. Medicare for his problem.
Yeah.
Great reporting from Fox. Let's go into the article here. Let's see if we can zoom in.
Yeah, hang on. Let me just.
Yeah, there we go. Minnesota-based lawyer and online legal analyst Nick Ricada is facing a drug charge in Candiyohi County. Ricada was arrested Thursday alongside his wife Kayla and a fellow online personality. Prosecutor, and isn't that how it is with this whole thing, by the way? Is still April's just a fellow online personality to Ricada?
I think she's random.
Yeah. Anyway. For second-degree possession, child endangerment, and a gross misdemeanor firearm charge. Go to the next slide.
Dude.
According to the charges, law enforcement attempted to execute a search warrant on May 23rd at Ricada's home in Spicer and was greeted by a girl at the front door who would not let them inside. So Ricada then, so this is how it happened. Now, this is kind of convoluted, the timeline. Apparently there is body cam footage and it may or may not be released next week. So we have that to look forward to because there have already been requests for it. And if Ricada goes to trial, I think it certainly will be made public, but we'll have to see. But essentially what happened is Ricada was out of the house. He was driving home. The officer apprehended him and basically there was officers at the house and there was an officer with Ricada. Ricada got home. They told him to give the code for the door.
Yeah.
As the little girl was at the door refusing to open it, Ricada refused to give them the code, even though he was shown a valid warrant.
He threw it on the floor. On the floor.
So we'll get there, and then they broke down the door. But after Ricada refused to provide the door code,
Refused?
law enforcement used a door ram to get inside. and found Kayla M. Holte and 4 juveniles inside. So this means one of Rekieta's children was missing, which is interesting as to where that child was and why. We don't know, we can only speculate. But law enforcement proceeded to search the master bedroom and bathroom, where they found a variety of drug paraphernalia, including 3 small baggies that tested positive for cocaine, 8 green tablets that tested positive for ketamine, a digital scale, and several other items that tested positive for cocaine.
How do you end up like that? That's so wild.
Authorities found a 6-hour assault rifle with several magazines and loose ammunition underneath the bed, a spent shell casing on the bedroom floor. They located additional firearms and ammunition in the garage. Police took Rekieta and his wife into custody and told law enforcement that he and his wife stayed in the master bedroom, where law enforcement claimed to find most of the drug paraphernalia, but allegedly refused to answer questions about the cocaine, according to court records. Before his arrest, some online users had raised concern about Rekieta's health this week, sharing a clip of him appearing to doze off during a stream. Well, I don't know if it was him dozing off, or if it was him jerking off, him getting sucked off, or what, but it was quite the clip. It was.
I love how, like, we're the crazy ones for our theories, but it's like, is everyone watching the same clip? They're like, it looks like he's just like having a little seizure. I'm like, anyway. Here we go.
Law enforcement noted Rekieta had several injuries to his arms at the time of arrest. They described the injuries as sores that are common with controlled substance users. So was he actually injecting shit? Was he injecting heroin? Was he mixing the cocaine with gunpowder and injecting it? Like, what the f was this guy doing? Like, seriously. And then we're still being told, oh, don't worry, he didn't do anything wrong.
Or did he fire, like in the backyard, fired off a round and brought in the casing? Like, what happened?
This is Kayla. This is the mother of 5 children, housewife, homemaker, Christian, laid low, made into a dirty crackhead junkie. That's Kayla. Just looking like any common, like, crackhead thief off the street. Next slide.
You know, someone said in her comments that she looks like she's already spent 10 years in jail.
Yeah. No, for real. She looks like she spent serious time. But look at her here, wiping her filthy fucking nose in the county orange.
No. And oh yeah,
there's
look at
the
this.
charge: neglect. Child knowingly permit physical/sexual abuse. Now, this charge could mean a number of things. People have said that it just means that she wasn't feeding her kids, or that she allowed her kids to get beaten, or that the kids were look at
the way you said that, though. That how people are saying. It just means she wasn't feeding their kids.
Yeah, the like best case scenario is she wasn't feeding her kids.
Best case scenario is look at him here. Look at this guy. My gosh. Oh no, but it's fine. We're crazy.
It's going totally fine, guys.
We're nuts, guys. Oh, we have the Imholte too.
And then there it is. April, this is what she said, that her charges were dropped and she's not an addict. She says someone else did this to me. So the betting public right now is betting that she is just completely flipped on the Requietas, that she's going to be testifying against them. She's going to create this narrative that Rekieta indoctrinated her into this, got her into the drugs. It's all his fault. They're really
she's gonna flip hard.
That's safe.
Well, do you know who else flipped on him? His own lawyer. So if we go to folder 3, we see that his own lawyer in the Montegraph case has snaked on him by just saying the truth. So his own lawyer is saying this. He says he drank hard with Jay Rushy and was blind to his addiction until it killed him. This is heavy shit.
Whoa.
He goes, I enabled it. I'll never forgive myself. Nobody will ever talk me out of it. and I miss him every day. If you're actually friends with Rekieta Law, then don't do what I did.
Oh
He
my.
followed up with another comment.
What the
He says, I'm not laying blame on anyone close to him. The only person I'm condemning is myself. Just trying to encourage anyone who can help him to do so.
Thank God.
You understand, when your own lawyer, who you're spending tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on, comes out and says you have a fucking problem and people need to help you, maybe it's time to fucking listen. But no, of course not. Rekieta's got all the cope lined up.
But by the way, we're the assholes because we're covering this.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Here we go. Here's Rekieta Law. It's on Insta, right?
Yeah.
I wish I could express that what people saw.
By the way,
Come on.
like, notice how he immediately has a typo,
Yeah.
but he's definitely not high or drunk. Like, if you're being accused of being a drug addict, I would make sure if you're gonna post own the haters, which is not advisable. You shouldn't be posting anything at all. But if you are, make sure there are no typos in your epic post to own the haters, right? Because he says he won't go to rehab because it's an admission of guilt, right? But when you post shit with typos, to me, and you're accused of being a drug addict and having an ounce of coke, it looks pretty bad also.
Yeah.
I wish and could express that what people saw isn't what they think they saw.
Look at this. Obviously, Jay can't confirm about. He means I. It's
But
not
he
even
didn't.
It's not even on the same row.
Obviously,
It's not even the same row.
can't talk about my case yet. However, confirmation bias makes people see something they didn't actually see.
What the f?
It all is we're all such bitter, evil haters of man that we just want to see him as an alcoholic. We want to see him as a drug addict. We want to see him as a guy in a polycule. We want to see him as a guy who wears the baldo. He didn't do any of those things. We're just seeing things. Now, mind you, Irate Gamer, who's a completely neutral observer, said he looked like a ghoul, like a skeleton. You know what I mean?
It really does.
Like anybody, like people who are just coming into it now, like normies that have been alerted to this, they all say the same thing. He looks like an alcoholic. He's speaking like an alcoholic.
Yeah.
It looks like an alcoholic. It talks like an alcoholic. Everybody around him says he was an alcoholic, but no. We didn't see what we think we saw. You know, when we saw them in the hot tub swinging, and Aaron's going to testify to all of this later, when we saw them swinging in the tub and then them Holties got divorced, we didn't see that. You just saw what you wanted to see.
When we
We're
saw,
all fucking delusional.
So when I heard the rocks in the nose, the tight breathing from like a straw, it sounded like the coke on his nose, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is coke. And then we find out there was coke there. I'm still crazy. Oh,
We all saw something else.
Oh, yeah, no.
He wishes he could tell us more about it, and he appreciates the love and the support.
But yeah, right. Oh yeah, because you have uncivil law.
That's just the beginning of it. But that's like the framework for his defense, is that we need to deny reality and be gaslit by him into believing a whole other line of bullshit. Now people comment on this, say you are in complete denial. You and your wife should be checking yourself into rehab, not fighting with people on Insta. And he goes, checking yourself into rehab. Tell me you don't understand the justice system without telling me you don't understand the justice system. Well, Rekieta, this only makes sense if you plan on fighting this all the way. That you're going to have a full jury trial on these charges. Because if you're pleading this out and you understand the legal system, you would know you would get a way better deal, a way less harsh sentence if you were to go to rehab. But you're refusing to go to rehab, which indicates to me that stupidly you're gonna fight all these fucking charges. He's like, well, it's an admission of guilt. You are guilty. Yeah. They have you dead to rights.
They found the fucking drugs as they walked in.
Wait, I'm sorry, but Rekieta, you're not black. You're not O.J. Simpson, okay? Johnny Cochran is not gonna, if the baldo doesn't fit, he must quit. That's not gonna happen. Your ass should have been in rehab yesterday.
Yeah.
For real. You should be in rehab right now. Getting clean, getting sober, making a case to the judge that you should be able to see your kids. And if he really cared about his kids and he wasn't a selfish fucking douchebag, he'd be in rehab right now.
Right now.
He would be fighting to see his kids again. Instead, he's pretty much doing everything in his power to make it certain he won't see his kids again. But why would that be a surprise to anybody that he actually gives a fucking shit about his kids?
He doesn't care.
He doesn't fucking care about his kids because this is the junkie mentality. The only thing that matters to him is drugs. The only thing that matters to him is booze. The only thing that matters to him is his ego and being right. And so he's going to put that ahead of seeing his kids again.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be the one to say it. He's a disgusting fucking scumbag who resents his children for not allowing him to live the lifestyle he thinks he deserves, that of being a Hollywood celebrity cokehead. Bum.
You've been preaching it for years.
You know, and I hear like all the Megan Fox, what's her name, from LawTube and others saying he's going to do a Robert Downey Jr., that he's going to turn his life around. You know what Robert Downey Jr. did? He went to rehab. He went to rehab and he got clean and he was penitent and he apologized and he ate a big bag of fucking shit over it.
And now look.
This guy wants us to eat the bag of shit. He wants Kiwi Farms to eat the bag of shit and say they're responsible, that Josh Moon is responsible, that Keno Casino is responsible, that Mr. Medicare is responsible, instead of just taking responsibility for his own drug habit. Do you know what I mean? For taking responsibility for not feeding his kids, taking responsibility for leaving his children in a dirty, disgusting, dilapidated drug den of a home. But it's your fault. You, the viewer at home, that laughed at him becoming a disgusting fucking loser, alcoholic bum. It's your fault for laughing at him.
Lolcow.
Come on.
Lolcow, yeah.
Come on.
Ash, look at this. I just was sent by Malcolm X. Real Malcolm X. Look at this.
So Barnes, Robert Barnes, this crazy cunt, Robert Barnes, is saying that the entire raid was unconstitutional and an overreach. Nick can fight to get this thrown out. Do you know what? Even if it does get thrown, which it won't. It wasn't an unconstitutional raid. They had a warrant. Like, get ready, because this is all gonna be revealed. But even if it was all thrown out, we know that there was coke in the house. We know that he's an alcoholic. We know that he endangered his kids.
Okay.
The house was filthy. There was ketamine. There was spent shell casings on the floor. We know what a fucking pathetic, worthless scumbag you are. And no matter what sort of slimy, shady, Better Call Saul lawyer you get in there to defend this and try and get it thrown out in a court of law, the truth is eternal. And the truth is what you will answer before God, the God that you claim to believe in, but clearly don't. You will answer before him in eternity, trembling on your fucking knees as to how you could allow your children, your flesh and blood, your seed that came from you. You understand? They are you. How you let them go hungry, how you let them go neglected, how you let them grow up in a drug den with dirty sex mistresses cheapening their mother's honor in front of them, Ricada. You still have to answer for that. You have to answer for it in the court of man now, and you'll answer for it in the court of God later. But he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit. I just want to show you guys, this is the next slide. This person just is trying to speak reality to him. Your house was raided. Drugs were found. Your children have been removed from your care. You could possibly go to prison. Wake up and stop being a narcissistic loser. Both of you go to rehab. That's just the truth. That's just plain and simple and unvarnished truth. And instead of just reading that and recognizing how fucked up he is and checking himself into rehab, or reading that and just being like, well, I disagree, they don't know the situation, but I'm going to move on and let the court settle it, he has to respond. Why? Why does he have to respond? And he tells him, eat shit.
We're all set.
You know nothing about the situation. You're a parasitic pile of garbage. Go f yourself. That's seriously what he said. You know nothing about the situation. Well, we have the police reports. We have the news reports. This person's probably been a fan of yours for years, that used to look up to you and respect you and enjoy your content. And they've slowly watched as you've deteriorated into the worthless monster that you are today. And you're gonna tell them that they know fucking nothing, to not believe their own lying eyes, and you're gonna call them a parasitic pile of garbage. Why?
But Ash,
because they cared about you?
even before we saw the police report, before he was arrested, you could see it. You knew there was drugs in the house. You knew, like we knew. Like, it's not like he was like fully sober. It was, and then this happened and we're like, what the fuck? He was like sober. He looked well. He looked healthy. He looked like he was like not on drugs. Yeah. No, it's, you were on drugs the night before, coke on your nose. Next day, they found coke. 1 + 1 = 2 in the situation. Sorry. They're like, oh, wait. If he was sober, hadn't been drinking, hadn't been doing drugs, and then was caught and went like, guys, you don't understand what happened. There was someone over at my house and they left some shit. I'd be like, okay, it's more believable. No. We saw you deteriorate over time. Not like it wasn't like a snap of the fingers. From sober to crackhead. No, stop.
It wasn't just like, you know, one day he had a DUI, you know?
Yeah.
And this was one bad night where he made some bad decisions.
Exactly.
He was drinking and he got pulled over and he got popped or whatever. It's not like
That's
he just
different.
had a...
That's
it's not like he had like an 8-ball on him or less.
You know, partied one night and was like, fuck, you know, like it was just like, I was tempted.
He had like a full ounce.
And scale.
Almost a full ounce with scales and
guns
paraphernalia
and, like, what the fuck?
and everything on him. He was deep into the lifestyle.
And we're gonna hear.
Honestly,
we're gonna hear the story. Yeah,
he was deeper into that lifestyle than even you were.
By a lot. Way more. I was just buying like every now and then and smashing lines and drinking. I wasn't selling. I wasn't around kids. I didn't have guns and spent shells. I didn't have scales.
Did you have like some greasy, dirty mistress on the side that you were embarrassing your wife and children with?
I was screaming high out of my mind like a re. And yes, and by the way, like, look, if you're watching and you party every now and then, I'm not even judging you. Have fun. Be careful. Don't do drugs. I suggest don't do drugs. And if you have kids, knock it the f out. It's over. Stop it. Just stop it. Look, if you're like 23, you're college and you do a line, I'm not gonna be like, you're a horrible human being.
Well, and let's be real too, guys. How do we know he wasn't dealing? Because somebody in chat's like, he was dealing. Why would he have the scales if he wasn't dealing? Why did he have multiple little baggies if he wasn't dealing? You know what I mean? Like, the thing is, when you're getting into these amounts of cocaine, you know, in order to help fuel the cost of it, you might start dealing on the side. And he would see no problem ethically with dealing drugs.
When you're partying with people and shit, and remember, he's heading to these sex clubs.
He had a funnel.
I just want us all to see on the board behind me. I think it's very important for people to know we are powerless over our addictions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very good lesson to learn.
Okay.
We are already. We need a power, what is it, greater than ourselves.
All right.
To help us
before we get into everything, why don't you let them know who you are, where they can watch your show, and all that?
Yeah.
I'm Aaron Imholt, the host of the Steel Toe Morning Show, or if you dislike me, the biggest cuck on the
there
internet.
He is.
Okay.
Currently. No, boys, look, I know we're going to get into a lot of stuff, and I know I'm here to be Ray Liotta in Goodfellas, but I do have to say, and PPP has said it on multiple episodes, and Andy, I know you and I have talked. I think PPP's coverage of this, Ashton's coverage has been fantastic. I've laughed my fucking balls off when he's calling me a homosexual.
Well,
right.
And a degenerate and everything else. He's not wrong. I was all of those things. There's no, like, everybody's criticism. Those who don't like me, who go, oh, you were a degenerate, you went to this place. Yes, that's my whole point. I am guilty. I am working through this. I am working it off. I am paying it off. The problem I have is 3 other people who are involved in this will not admit their guilt and atone for what they've done wrong.
So Aaron, can I just get you correct? You're gonna admit today that you engaged in homosexual activities?
No, I did not engage in homosexual.
Okay.
Nick Rekieta licked my face 3 times, and it was always unasked for.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna ask you before we get into
Ashton, real quick. The only reason he licked my face is because I have a terrible habit of leaving Molly on my cheek. That's the only reason he licked.
Is that serious? He was trying to lick Molly off your cheek or what?
Here's the thing is,
in this case, it's hard to tell what's serious and what's a joke because it's so insane.
I have to be careful with you because you'll take it as serious.
No, Aaron, but everything is so degenerate that saying that's like, that's believable. It's not even like exaggerated.
No, it really is. It really is. Yeah. Okay, so before we go into, because I kind of want you to give us like a chronological walkthrough of everything.
Oh, shit.
But before we do that, I want to ask you, what is the crying on the floor story? Can we hear the crying on the floor story?
The crying on the floor story. First of all, I should have been more specific. But the crying on the floor, well, is that different than the fix her story?
Tell us both.
Okay, the fix her story is this. Well, now we're gonna jump out of order and we're gonna get way ahead in the story, but all right.
Yes.
So,
We're about to hear some wild stories, boys.
I've received messages from people saying, how dare you reveal all this? I'm like, I'm pretty sure you guys getting arrested revealed all this, but it's no secret that, people call it swinging. I would say it was just more straight up, just switching up.
Right.
More than anything else. And I did, look, whoever she is now, whoever she is when I'm not around, when I was around, I'll admit to you, boys, I did fall in love with the Kayla that was around me. Whoever this person is, whoever she was, and Nick would tell me himself, he would go, I've never seen her like this in years. There was something about the way her and I connected. There was shit we said to each other that we probably shouldn't have, but
this shit sounds so gay,
I just developed a very deep connection. April was, doing the substances she was doing with Nick, and I was not okay with it. Her and I fought about it a lot. When you confront people who are on those substances, they tend to call you a lot of shit that kind of fucks with you. And I started to kind of question my own, worth and sanity and whatnot. And when Kayla hears those kind of things and she comes up and she gives you a hug and she says, I just want to let you know you're a good man. Like, you're at such a low point when you're doing all this shit that's all it takes. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to cling to this person because they make me feel like I'm worth a shit. And she did that. I will say this, Kayla Rekieta, for all her faults, for all this and whatever we may talk about, I really did develop a deep affection for that woman, and that was reciprocated. It's unfortunate the way things went, but I really did see that there's something in her that wants to be done with this. There's just no, in the position, in the situation you're in, there's no opportunity to actually do it.
May I ask you one thing? So you told me, and I'm pretty sure you said this on your show too, there was something about like you guys were like soulmates, like you had conversations about being soulmates.
We were in bed one night, and when Nick would be on his streams, April would be the corner demon. Of course, I think that's pretty much figured out by now. I'm not spilling any. But April would go down there, and the sickest part about me and a level of degeneracy I'll cop to is I didn't want to be around my wife. I wanted to be around Kayla. So when those two went off and did their thing, it didn't bother me at all. And as a husband, that's disgusting. Right. That's degenerate. I think, as PPP said, you have to answer to men and God on shit like that. But that was just the way it was. That's the situation I was in. And I'm sorry, Andy, I'm jumping all over the place.
No, you're good.
Yeah, no. It's very enlightening, everything you're saying. It's fantastic. It's awesome. You're doing great.
Andy, you said the soulmate thing. That's
the soulmate thing. Yeah, but no, it's fine. It's unfolding the story. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
We were in bed one night. We were lying together, and she whispered to me, she goes, I think you're my soulmate. And I, the way we were at the time, I said, I agree. I feel that too. There was just such a deep connection there. It's a connection we definitely got chastised for by the other two parties.
How do they find out about that?
Not necessarily that. It's just the closeness. We would get
They
criticized.
witnessed you guys getting closer and closer and falling in love.
Kayla was sleeping once, and April and Nick, we were in the bathroom where the safe and everything were discovered. We were in there, and I was sitting on a chair. I'm not going to say they sat me down, but I'm sitting on a chair, and the two of them are close to me, and they're going, do you understand that when you and Kayla talk to each other, nobody else can get a word in and you don't even hear other people? It's like you're closed off in your own little world. And I'm sitting there going, well, based on what we're doing, guys, isn't that kind of the fucking idea? And they're like, well, Nick and I don't do that. I'm like, that's your fucking problem, not mine. Like, I'm talking to this person, I'm connecting with this person. I'd like to talk and speak to this person. I don't know what to tell you. There were always these weird rules. Like, you know, you play pickup basketball or pickup football, and some kid always wants to change the rules in the middle of a game. Like, now you gotta have 2 feet in bounds instead of 1. Yeah. That's kind of how it felt. Like, if Kayla and I got too far affront or forward, affection-wise or feeling-wise, then the other two had to slam on the brakes. And that included shitting on the other one to me, or shitting on me to her, or you know, Nick would always, you know, the thing that actually led me to ultimately leave one night, it was a Thursday night, 7 weeks ago. Nick started questioning me about where Kayla put her prescription pills one night. Nick, we were sitting up in the bed watching a movie, and Kayla was there, and she went to grab her sleeping pills, and she set them down on my leg. This was a couple nights before Nick confronted me about this. Well, I guess Nick got a hold of Kayla's phone and started reading her messages. And there were really affectionate, heavy messages from Kayla and I, and he didn't like that. And he starts texting me, and he starts going, where did Kayla put those pills the other night? I was like, what do you mean? She goes, did she put them on your dick? I'm like, what? When she set them down on the bed, did she set them where your dick? I'm like, no, I think she set them on my knee. I'm not sure. Like, I didn't know because I don't remember that shit because that's psychotic.
Pills loose? Was it the pills loose?
No. She has them in
the case. Okay, in the case.
Like,
all right.
People who have to take medication do. And by the way, before anyone even asks, I only saw her, other than like cocaine and stuff, I only saw her take medication that was prescribed to her. I will say that. Okay. But he would start questioning me, and if I didn't know the answer to these things that happened a couple days ago, he'd start freaking out on me like, you're a goddamn liar. Why don't you just stop lying? And I'm just like, dude, I just don't know where your wife put her pill. I don't pay attention to this shit. Did you her 2 days ago when you were watching that movie? Did you have sex that? I'm like, Sunday, Monday, I think maybe but then I would realize I was thinking to myself,
you fucked her, right?
Why do you think he was so threatened by you fucking his wife? Like, shouldn't he have been chill with it?
Those two are extremely codependent. And even though they're into, I think they were kind of bored with each other. And that's where April and I came along. And
was it accepted to have sex with her and vice versa? Like, was this like already like okay, guys, I get the her, you get the her.
Let me take responsibility for something else.
Sure.
While April and I were on vacation in Las Vegas to watch the Vikings games and hang out with some friends. Okay. I did bring it up to her that I thought Kayla was very attractive. And my part of the degeneracy, my part of the weakness was it might be interesting to try this because we knew their reputation. Can
you walk me through like the decision process to opening your marriage?
The Wednesday night before we left for Las Vegas, we went out to dinner with the Ricadas. Now, we met them in October at the comedy show.
Okay.
That, unfortunately, Chrissy Mayer's father was murdered, and she had to pull out of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was really sad.
Brutal, yeah.
Chrissy, a good friend of mine. Great.
Oh, she's great. Yeah, I love her.
Wonderful.
So that was the one, sorry to, it was the one where Nick performed that as well. You brought him in for that show. Yeah, okay, I remember that. Okay. And he told anyone if we covered that show, he would flag it and shit. But yeah, sorry, go ahead. So it was October.
I don't give a fuck. I think people who troll me recorded it and played it on their shows. Who fucking cares?
Yeah, I know. But okay, cool. Timeline, perfect.
So we hung out. We drank afterwards. It was fun. It was a good time. April and Kayla got along great. Nick was on Molly. He and I got along as well as we could. He was cool enough. Then we hung out the next day before they left town. We watched a movie in the morning. And then April would go to their land to hunt. April is a deer hunter. I would go sometimes. November's a little cold for me. I'm kind of a like that. And I would stop hunting around then. She would go to their land to hunt. I've thought about this as time goes on, as I've been away from it. I don't know if they introduced her to anything in that time period or not. I have no idea, but I have my suspicions now. But we went out to eat early December, probably like December 4th, I would think. And we went back to our place. And we all sat and watched a movie. I think it was Inglourious Bastards, actually.
So random. It's just
Django Unchained.
You're all Molly?
It wasn't Django.
It was a Tarantino.
You're all high on Molly? Like, let's watch some Tarantino.
No,
and that's where it begins.
Oh, no one there? Okay,
No
okay.
high on Molly. We went to dinner. We went to dinner. This was in December. We're watching a Tarantino flick.
Okay.
And Nick pulls out the little container that they call a bullet of cocaine. I learned so many cocaine terms, boys.
Let's
in
go.
The last 6 months. It's wonderful. I know about drugs.
Yeah, a bullet, for anyone who doesn't know, it's like shaped as a bullet.
Hey, I'm
right?
37 years old and I have 3 children and I did Molly for the first time. What a f***ing fool guy I am.
Go, buddy. Let's go, buddy.
A degenerate sucker if they're
Yeah,
ever.
so-
No,
You want
buddy,
to tell people what a
listen.
bullet is? I know what it is, but you go ahead.
Go ahead. You let us know.
Yeah.
So we're watching the Tarantino.
No,
film.
no, just tell people what a bullet is, because there's not.
A little container of cocaine, like you
Easy
put
access.
cocaine in,
You pull it out of
and
your
you can just
pocket, you go
screw
like
the
that,
top
and
then
bang. Yeah.
Give yourself a little
A
something.
bump. Yeah, fast bump. Yeah.
Worski knows. I'm a fucking choir boy compared to you, buddy. I don't.
Yeah, I know.
I'm from the Midwest. I drink
That's
beer.
why I don't
from all-
judge.
I don't
That's why I
fucking know.
Alright.
I drink beer and watch Timberwolves playoff games. I don't know what the I'm talking about.
Let's fucking go.
So we're watching it. Pete, shut the up, Ashton. No, I'm just kidding. No, we're watching the Tarantino movie, and Kayla and April start making out.
Hello, hello.
Fun. Cool.
Hello. Welcome to the stream.
I said, here's
Kind of
something
an
that's got me
impromptu
thinking.
stream.
I can see it beginning now.
I want to
right?
listen
Like,
to the
your
Aaron
wives
Moss
start
interview
making out, and
on
it's
the
like it's cool,
the
right?
King of Casino.
Like lesbian action. It's
The shit he has to tell is kind of
and
fucking
that's, and
wild.
that's what opens the door.
All
to
the
it, right?
degeneracy going on in the Rakita household.
And I want to say, I respect your, I appreciate your respect as a man. While I'm talking about that, to have both your hands above the screen, I do appreciate it. Ashton.
Exactly. We got it. So fire me up.
Fuck yeah, this
You're
is
a
a great
godly man.
episode.
So they're making out, and here's what's got me thinking that I don't know if something happened before this, while they were, while April was out there hunting or not. I don't think so.
N-L-U-R-K-I-N.
Nick goes to run his hands up April's thigh, and I go, whoa, 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 whoa. And he pulls his hand back real fast. Like, I'm sorry,
Hey,
I'm
Cora,
sorry.
how you
I'm
doing?
on Molly. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I'm like, all right, just fucking making sure. So I start doing things to my wife while her and Kayla are making out. Nick starts doing things to his wife while they're making out. And then we break. They go in, Kayla and Nick go in one room, April and I are in the other.
PPP with a filter really reminds me of a creepy looking puppet.
April does some, I'm assuming, for the first time ever.
Shit's cursed.
She looked at me, she goes, is this okay? I said, I'd had one bump at a wedding when I was like 30 at that time. And I'm like, it's up to you. You're your own person. You can do what you want. Right. And then I did one bump and I'm like, God, I forgot. I really don't like this. It doesn't feel good when it goes. I just don't like shit up my nose. So we do that. April and I have sex. I'm assuming the two of them had sex. And when it's all done, I remember Nick was downstairs. April went downstairs. They're in the kitchen. Kayla comes into my room, comes around the bed, stands by me, and starts showing me like pictures of her family and telling me stuff about her family. Like, here's this person, here's that person, so on and so forth. And I'm like, I'm just kind of like, just because of everything that went on, I'm like, does she like me? Like, we're both married.
I don't think so.
Like
I don't think
really
that was
energy.
being attractive or flirting. You just really
traumatized by loco shit as usual.
I was like, oh, it's all right. Okay.
So she was coming
more
on
like
to you
because
right
I
away.
kind of have the experience myself. You really do some random shit when you're high.
Not the worst, but like
You talk about the most random things.
You go, look at this.
So I don't think it was necessarily her flirting with him.
Sexual energy.
Exactly. Okay.
So then April and I leave for Las Vegas the next day, and I am a little weirded out by what happened the day before, and I'm uncomfortable around my wife. But she's talking about this experience like, oh, that's kind of exciting, right? That was kind of fun. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really know what to make of it. I'm not against it. I'm not for it. I'm more in the realm of like, what the just happened? So then we get a day to think about it. Friday morning, we're in Las Vegas, and I go, she's getting ready in the bathroom. I go get her. I go, I want to talk to you real quick. And I was thinking about Kayla standing next to me, and I can't remember if she was naked or not, but I think she may have been topless. I can't remember.
And I just remember if she was naked or not.
Dude, when we get to all the stories, there's a lot of shit that's just gonna be, it's just too much.
Like he's not sure if it was that time or the next time, you know? Like
my RAM is overloaded. I can't process shit right. I really can't. Like, shit happens to me now.
And you're f***ed up too, right? Like you're on drugs, drinking, all that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, I talked to my wife, and we just had a talk about what happened that night, 2 nights ago. And we talk about what we'd like to do. And I'm like, we know their reputation. And I went, I think I'd like to try this. Like,
reputation. Could you
degenerate that started this was me. I asked the question first.
Was it the hedonism stories? Like, was that what the reputation you're talking about?
I didn't know about the hedonism stories. I just knew in general the Ricadas had swinger stories around them.
Okay.
Like, is this a known thing in Minnesota? Like, locally, are they known for swinging, or are you going based off of like
internet lore?
The Kiwi Farms.
Okay.
Internet lore.
Okay. So you weren't surprised that.
Right.
Okay. Can you answer this for just before we go any further on this?
Man.
Do you know if Drexel has had sex with Kayla?
I can tell you. I'll tell you that Kayla has told me no.
Okay.
I trust her on that, and I've never met Drexel. I don't. You've
never met Drexel.
Never met him. He was never at the Ricada's house in the 6 months I was there.
All right, back to the timeline of you opening things up and how we all got here.
April seemed way more gung-ho on it than I thought she would. So I was just like, all right, cool. That night...
Did that upset you? Did it upset you that she was so easily, like, open to it?
I feel bad saying no. I want to tell people this. If you're thinking of opening up the sanctity of your marriage, let me tell you something. You're fucking done.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
You don't want it anymore. You're bored, whatever. Subconsciously or consciously, you just want to fuck some strange.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And that's what it started out. That's what it started out as. That does not negate the feelings I told you that I developed.
The moment
everything else. I don't want to disrespect her.
Even suggests that is the moment you should just
be disrespectful to you, but do you think it had anything to do with April not like orgasming? Because she said you never made her orgasm.
Where that fucking story came from. Our sex life was fantastic. As everything else was garbage. That was good until the last time.
She made that joke or something, and then Red Bar started talking about it. Yeah.
I made a joke on air. She's like, oh, not every woman comes every time from sex. And that becomes, oh, she doesn't come. And it's just like, I'm just like, you motherfucker. Like, she wasn't saying anything shitty. She wasn't bashing our sex life. But I looked at her and went, you know how the internet's going to take that.
And you were pissed. Yeah, you were like seething. Yeah.
Number one, I'm not saying I'm the greatest that ever lived, but I laid some good dick with this woman. And here she is saying this. And I'm like, she doesn't mean anything by it. But I'm like, you wonder, like, I think more in terms of like what people are going to say, whereas she just kind of says shit. Yeah. And I'm like, that's why she was so caught off guard when I was like, what the are you doing? She's like, what? I didn't say anything. So and I'm like, no, people are going to take this the wrong way.
Yeah, I could see that. So are you saying, were you pushing more for it to be opened, or was she pushing more for it to be open? So you're saying
it's my idea.
This was your idea to open the relationship.
Yeah, this was my idea.
Okay.
And
but then she was open, and you were like, "That was kind of quick."
She was a little bit too quick of a yes. And then we're talking to Nick and Kayla on the phone at dinner that night, and I'm like, all right. The first thing, actually, Las Vegas was the first red flag I got from this whole thing. Because as soon as we text them about this idea that I had, the first thing Nick did was, do you guys have the Signal app on your phone?
Whoa! What is this Signal app? What is it?
And I'm like, I have no idea what the that is.
Okay.
He goes, it's an encrypted messaging app.
What the fuck?
And I'm like, well, why can't we just text? No. Let's use the Signal app. And I'm like, well, there's nothing illegal about fucking each other's spouse. Like, I mean, we can fucking talk about this like adults, you know?
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was just weird. So we had to use this Signal app all the time. And I thought I should have known, like, you're going to realize, I can see holier than thou Ashton, the wheels turning already, going, these fucking degenerates, the judgment.
No.
You're right.
No, this is a judgment-free zone.
We've never judged anyone.
Oh, yeah. Real
it's a judgment.
We have a lunk alarm.
You know what? I got
until I hit the end call button.
Listen. Did you make Kayla come when you f***ed her?
Oh, we did very well.
How many times do you estimate that you made Lady Rackets moan your name?
Oh, Jesus.
How many times did you f*** her, do you think?
See, now I was talking to someone before we went on, and they prepped me. They said, Ashton's going to ask some hard-hitting questions.
Oh, yeah, of course he is.
And they prepped me for some of them. One of them was, how many times did you guys have sex? I don't care.
It was
Whoa,
countless.
it was just
It
a
was
lot.
dozens of times.
Like I said, I love
hundreds.
I was obsessed.
Hundreds?
I was obsessed with it. Hundreds?
Hundreds?
No, not hundreds.
Like 800?
In the like dozens to 100.
How many times a week?
At first, we always tried to keep it, or not tried to keep it, but it was always more spouses than other spouse. You understand?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be like a once or twice a week thing. I'd say at the peak, 4 or 5 times a week.
Did she suck your?
What are you, fucking gay?
Of course.
Yeah,
was
like,
there dirty shit like and shit?
Like that's what you do. You fuck. What am I? Not a gentleman?
Did she spit or swallow?
Come on.
You know
what
I
she
will
did.
tell you this. Listen to me. As a man, and maybe people in the chat will say as a. I see getting my sucked as a precursor to the main event. So
yeah,
if I'm getting close and I'm getting my up, I'm like, no, let's get to it. I don't. So that
right.
Was there toys involved at some points too?
Was she good? Was she good at sucking it, or what?
Just a beautiful girl all around. She really is. Just a
This is so fucking gay, man.
all around. I don't even say no. Look, you guys are giggling and everything. I don't say that as disrespect.
No, this is a crazy story.
Like,
the story is
it's amazing.
This is like the greatest story.
You're like one of the best Howard Stern segments ever. You're just nailing it right now.
Yeah.
You're killing it.
No. And let me just say, into the camera right now. Save yourself, sweetheart. You know you're better than this.
Whoa. By the way, your
you
channel
use
is in the
the
links up there, by the way, everyone. Go sub to him, sub a Steel Tour.
Did you ever use the Baldo on Kayla?
I heard the Baldo described one time.
Okay.
Nick described it, and he like tried to sell it. Like,
Shut the f*** up.
Well, no, it's a thing where your balls become hard. You can
Tell us, please.
No, tell us the time he tried to sell the Baldo.
He was like, no, you don't understand. The Baldo is this thing where it makes your balls hard. You can insert them, and then you can rub against their, and it can actually be very stimulating. I'm like, you know what else is stimulating? The shit out of somebody. You can just someone. You don't have to shove your balls inside them.
So he used the Baldo?
I don't know. I cannot confirm.
But he's trying to sell you on it privately, so he for sure did.
Maybe he just believed in the product.
Okay, yeah.
I don't.
Now, did you, in the course of any of this, did you ever like see Rekieta's wang?
I never. I've seen it flaccid in passing.
Are you bigger than him?
I will say this. I will say it's close.
Do Blanc, my man, long time no
I don't think
see.
I've seen it like firm, so I don't.
Hey,
know.
JDS the kid. Big ups. It's been a while.
Walking out of the hot tub.
Bit of
through
an
the kitchen
impromptu
after
stream
Friday,
today.
like, what?
I want to not really much of react. I want to listen to the Animals interview on the King Casino.
What
Talking
was
about all the
Remember,
degeneracies that Rekieta
Here's what I
also
remember.
was indulging
Here's what I
himself
remember
in.
about our-
What was
here's
the
what I
post
remember.
It's really wild.
I'll answer the question like this. I remember one of the girls, I can't remember which one it was, when we walked in the kitchen, we didn't know each other were there. And one of the girls
Folded
said, she goes,
hands.
both of my guys have great. And I was like, thank you
Wow.
very much. Put it in my pocket and call her a day. That was April who said that, actually.
Wow. So,
Your wife saying.
did he use the ball though on April, you think?
I don't know. I didn't want to
Did your
know.
wife tell
I
you
didn't
that your
care.
dick
I
and
was-
the dick of
I
the
was
guy
with
she's fucking up
my
was
sweet
great?
killer.
That's-
Wow. So, do you feel like
That's so-
like
I
sort
don't
of
know,
the
man.
love was reversed between you and Nick and April
You
and
can't
Kayla? So,
make
like,
this shit up.
did he fall more in love with April than he did with Kayla? Like,
Yes, 100%.
So it was like a full-on
I'm not
okay.
sitting here going. I'm not sitting here going. Kayla and I were so in love, and those two hated each other. They kind of.
It's like switched almost.
They kind of fought and tiffed with each other more than Kayla and I did. But I think the feeling was there, you know, like it was with Kayla and I. I think both of us. I think all of us were tired of the other person. I know April was tired of my nagging about drugs. I know that Nick and Kayla had been unhappy for a long time. And I was
did
really.
Kayla express any of the reasons why she was unhappy in the marriage to you?
She feels like Nick gaslights her. She feels like Nick, when she has a concern, Nick has a habit of turning it around and making it look like she's doing something wrong, to the point where she gets very frustrated. And like, Nick's not a, like, he's, don't get me wrong, but he's not a dumb guy.
No.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
No.
Like, he makes some of the dumbest fucking decisions and says some of the stupidest shit of any human being I've ever fucking met in my life, and it's infuriating, but he's intelligent, if that makes sense. So like with someone like Kayla, if he can be domineering over someone and he can overtalk them, they can kind of convince someone who's not as convicted as he is that they're in the wrong and he's in the right. And that would happen with Kayla a lot.
Yeah, he's smart.
Did
He's
you,
smart at setting up the gaslight, like the.
Can you like point to an example? Like, did you ever see this happen in real life?
God. Should we do the fix her story? So the fix her story. You guys got time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got all the time in the world for you, bud.
All you,
So
man.
the fix her story. Nick and Kayla are screaming at each other in the bathroom. And I think I'm in the bedroom. I think April, I don't know where April is during the fix her. So I think April and I were in the bedroom. April and I were in the bed. Nick and Kayla were fighting. There was always drama. I always described the relationship between the four of us as we went from disaster to disaster, drama to drama. It was an intensely frustrating, stressful place to be. And I think it's because 3 people were on coke and one of them most of the time wasn't. And that's a frustrating spot to be for me. So Nick and Kayla are shouting, screaming
almost
at each
got me.
other. I mean, frighteningly. They would have these knockdown drag-outs. I mean, just nasty fights. Some of them would end with Nick walking around hitting himself in the head like a fucking ape. This one in specific, Nick and Kayla are yelling at each other. Nick comes storming out of the bathroom. I hear Kayla crying. Nick points at me. This really upset me. Nick pointed at me and he goes, "Go in there and fix her."
What did he mean?
Fix it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Go in there and fix her.
Yeah, I'm gonna
So I go
do
in
that from
there,
now on. Fix her.
And she's on the floor crying, basically in a ball crying. And I comfort her and I talk to her a little bit. And it's just, I mean, I don't know the specific conversation because these all run into each other. A variation on You know, he's gaslighting me. I'm so frustrated. Nobody understands me. Nobody can see me. Nobody can hear me. That's how we got close, is one of the things she would always say to me, and I would say to her, she would look at me as she wouldn't want to talk about what was wrong. And I would start going, well, is it this? Is it, I understand maybe you feel this way, blah, blah. And she would look at me with tears in her eyes. She would go, you speak my thoughts. And that would touch me. That really, like, I'm not, like, you guys are going to find, I'm not some fucking monster who's here to just rat people out.
Oh, obviously
This touched me. This meant something.
Yeah.
So in the fix her thing, I go in there, I talk to her, and it's just they're fighting. And then Nick comes back in, and they start yelling at each other again. Now I'm in between the two of them. This is remarkably uncomfortable. I'm not high. They're high, or at least he's high. And they just start fighting. Literally, I'm in between the two of them. Kayla leaves. Nick pours out the 2 biggest fucking rails of coke I've ever seen in my life. And granted, I haven't seen that much, but bigger than what they usually do. And just rips them back to back. To the point, well, he and I were still friends at this point. Literally stopped, put my hand on his shoulder. I said, buddy, are you sure that's okay? Because he had just done some before that. I said, buddy, are you sure that's all right? I don't want your fucking heart to explode in the fucking bathroom here. Nick always had this way of WebMDing his shit to explain it away. He would go, no, well, what you don't understand is no matter how much I'm doing right now, it doesn't get me more high. It takes time for it to process and come
Really
down.
does sound like something he would say.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a stimulant supercharging the fuck out of your heart and you dropping dead. Like, no, it's fine.
Was he actually showing you shit online? Was he actually showing you stuff online?
He had an encyclopedia of bullshit.
So I already looked at this up. I searched this already.
One time I asked him, because this was late. This was probably a week or two before I bailed. I confronted him. I said, dude, I know her and I aren't on the best of terms right now. This is when she was out. I was ready to file, like, just about over. Like, April and I had crossed the Rubicon already. There was no going back. But I did still care. And I'm like, dude, she's doing a lot. It's like every day. And you guys are drinking a lot. Like, even Kayla came to me once and she said, Aaron, you need to talk to Nick or April because our liquor bottles are disappearing very quickly around this house. I said, okay, talk about it. I talked to Nick. I go, and I didn't really want to talk about the booze. I was more concerned about the coke. That's what scared the shit out of me. And I said, the cocaine use, dude. Let's talk about it because it's not good. We need to cut back on that shit a little bit. And he gave me this reason. He said, well, Aaron, what you don't understand is, understand how like people with ADHD, the stimulants they take allow them to pay attention better because their attention span goes up. And like this with the stimulant, it meets their demand for the, So he says about cocaine, he goes, well, Aaron, you see, sometimes our minds can only handle this much stress. But we have this much stress. So when I do cocaine, it elevates my body's ability to deal with stress to here, so I can then deal with the stress I face. And I remember just going to him, I go, that's total bullshit.
What was the stress? What was the stress that what was he mentioning? Like, what was the stress?
Andy,
the kids?
What you don't understand is this man was streaming at that point 1 or 2 days a week.
Okay.
He had a trust fund.
Yeah.
And that's very stressful.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Life's tough, bud. Life's tough.
I want to ask.
There were some times with Nick where, as the son of a fucking baker and a lunch lady, I was like, you entitled c***. Like, just fucking man up and handle your shit.
Yeah.
Like,
so I got to ask, like, because you were there a lot or a fair amount. What is like a day in the life of Rekieta? Like, is he mostly high, like, all the time?
I can tell you what I saw from time to time. Again, everything I'm telling you, I don't want to get into speculation. Everything I'm going to tell
whatever
you
you
guys,
saw, whatever
is firsthand. Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks.
While I too, again, let's remember, while I too was being a degenerate, going outside of his marriage, scandalizing his relationship, scandalizing his children, all of these terrible things, being a bad father, being a bad husband. But a day in the life was this. I would get up. I'm an early riser. I do a morning show. I would get up on a weekend, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And I would just sit and stare at 3 passed out people.
Oh,
That's it.
I would just go, all right. What are we going to do? I'd go take a shower or something. Kill some time. And then I kind of wake everybody up like, hey, can I go get breakfast? I remember one common thing with this relationship was that I was the one who was always going, hey, can we go do some shit? Hey, can I go get this? Can I go to... I was
You
restless.
fed the kids, right? You fed them
to get out of the fucking house and do some shit.
Wait, where were the kids during all this, by the way?
They would wake up later, but they would still come and knock on the bedroom door.
Whoa.
By the way, we slept 4 of us to a bed.
What the?
Like, we all slept in the same bed.
Yeah,
I would sleep with Kayla. Nick would sleep with April.
Okay.
Okay, so that was the sleeping
That was the sleeping arrangement. Was April and I on the ends, Nick over by April, Kayla over by me. So sometimes in the morning, the kids would knock on the door and say either I'm hungry or this or that. I would say more times than not, I would go out and I would get them some food, something like that, because everyone else got up a little later than I did. Then there would be times where there would be fighting in the bedroom, or, you know, people were doing whatever they were doing in the bathroom, and someone would want something, and I would, more often than not, it was usually me who went and got it. I was just not into, like I said on my show, I did coke 3, maybe 4 times in total the entire time. Probably 4 lines, 4 bumps in total the whole time I was there. I did develop an affinity for Molly. It just seemed I wouldn't drink.
Pills
and I would
or powder?
I hate powder. I hate it. One time they had me do the licking thing.
The licking thing, yeah.
Like,
You
so
wanted
every
more
time after that,
control.
I had to-
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Nick use papers and wrap it in like pill form, and I would
Okay.
take it that way. I preferred it that way. And what I would do is I just wouldn't drink that night. I'd pound water and Gatorade, and I would chill because everything was so dramatic and everything else. I would have fun. I would enjoy myself.
Yeah.
But I'd still realize, holy shit, dude, you're 37 years old and you're a father of 3. Cut the fucking shit. So after about half a dozen times of that, done with that too.
So let me ask you, what was the general sense, do you think, of how aware the kids were that their parents were on drugs all the time?
I don't think they knew. I don't think they knew.
Really?
I don't.
How about the sense of 2 people? There's a new couple in the bedroom sleeping with them. Like no one, even the high school kid wasn't like, what the f is going on there?
That I can definitely, I would say, if I'm just putting myself in their shoes, they're thinking, that's fucking goofy.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a little bizarre.
How old was the oldest one? How old was the oldest one?
Am I telling any tales out of school here if I...
No, it's known. The oldest kid was 16, right?
Okay.
So he knows something's happened. Like, let's,
Yeah.
you know, like you're 16, your parents.
Every single one of those 5 kids, angels. Every single one of them, great kids.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, they had to know. I mean, it's...
You're 16, your parents are sleeping with 2 other people daily, and there's like,
Strangers.
you
I
know.
mean, let me ask you this. How were you introduced to the kids? Is it like this is Uncle Aaron and Auntie April? or
Mr. Aaron and Mrs. April.
Right, and that was like, what was the official story as to why you were around all
Friends.
the time?
Friends, just really good friends.
Right, okay. Were there any other friends that would come around, or were
No.
you the only ones in this arrangement at this time?
No.
Do you know if anybody else?
Maybe that's what Nick meant by aggressively monogamous. It's aggressive.
Do you know if he had done this with any other couples? Did he tell you, like, don't worry, we've done this with somebody else before?
You know, this is a really funny story. One time we were at my house, and, you know, I only have my kids 50% of the time, so it was easy to come to our house when there were no kids. And that was important to me. Yeah, f it, we'll get into it later.
Yeah.
With the couch story. But as far as the swinging experience and this and that, Nick and Kayla sat April and I down probably about a month and a half, 2 months into what we were doing. And they went, guys, we feel terrible. Feel like we've lied to you. We have a little more experience with this than we let on. And they talked about some of their experiences in Jamaica and this and that and some other things. And we're like, April and I are looking at each other and we go, yeah, we've read the internet. We kind of know this already. It was really weird because April and I were like, yeah,
Can you get into some of the details of what exactly he said when he sat you down for this?
He did tell me a story about he and Kayla were excited to get into it with other couples. But unfortunately, because of his consumption of cocaine and Molly,
He was soft.
He was soft. He had
Ayla was able to perform. Nick was not.
Yeah, that shit really fucks with your dick.
Traumatic experience.
Oh no!
And this was with a black couple.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Jamaican.
Most likely.
This is all
was this at hedonism or is this a different?
This was the resort. Yeah.
Wait, so you're telling me some guy is banging fucking April and Kayla?
But no. He's banging. So
Kayla and sorry, his wife, the gentleman's wife, and Kayla. Sorry, not
There's
April.
a gentleman balls deep in Rekida's wife.
And his wife.
Rekida tries to get into the other guy's wife.
But he can't. So then both women have to go on.
What happened? Did he get laughed at in that circumstance?
No, I remember him saying, I will say this, guys. And look,
I feel like Aaron is just telling stories to make himself look better.
It's worse because I think there's a lot of manipulation and shit going on. But I will say this. He did say it was a genuinely traumatic experience.
Tries to make himself and Kayla look better in all of this. It's very obviously biased, so I don't really take that into account. I'm more listen to the stories themselves. And I do believe that the things that he's saying really did happen without exclude the parts where he tries to make himself look better in all this. Obviously, he's trying to make himself look better.
I can only speak to a couple times where
Did you see him personally fail to perform and be soft with April?
You did.
You did.
One time.
Whoa.
No matter what you do or try, you really can make yourself look good in all of this. You can make yourself look better, but not good. Everyone involved in this was a fucking piece of shit.
Where your accent from?
And there will be some
This is making me softer and FR.
Dutch, my friend.
I will admit
Dutch
that
would probably be
Was he popping like Cialis?
the most accurate one.
Was it Cialis or Viagra and stuff?
Once in a great while, I will say again, because at the very beginning, I was like, I'm really anxious about this shit. I just want to make sure that if I have any problems, you know,
I was gonna guess
in case of
Belgium.
emergency break glass, and I purchased some things.
I'm close.
Transgender flag, rainbow flag, 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 transgender flag.
So,
rainbow flag.
There was a really, this is probably one of my favorite moments with the beautiful Kayla Rekida. We were at our home, of course, no kids. And we had gone out that night. We came back, and Kayla and I, we were upstairs in my bedroom. And this was such a high schooler, fucking gay, and romantic, queer thing that happened. We would have sex, and then we'd run out. It was February. It was
polyamory is on the LGBTQ spectrum.
We were very hot. We were very warm.
And it leads to this.
And we would run out into the snow, jump into the snow, make a snow angel, and run back inside. It was just this funny gay thing that we did. Laugh! Go ahead and laugh.
No,
I don't agree with polyamory.
You guys are doing snow angels together in the
but
yard.
I don't think that was the cause for all of the shit show. I think it's just one of the byproducts.
A few months ago, when I was drunk, I did that before. So don't worry, it's all good.
We do that. That's not the fun part of the story. The fun part of the story comes when
symptom of the whole cancer.
As Kayla and I are making all kinds of noise and making snow angels and just being complete
I listen to this gay
April comes upstairs and she goes,
My brother got a second wife and is being sued now 10 years later.
Do you have anything for Nick? We're having problems.
Wait, he has 2 wives? I've that trouble dealing with one girl.
I don't talk to. I'll take that over Nambla lovers trying to get under the umbrella.
No, you didn't.
I really did. At that time, no, now I think it's fucking awesome. Like,
fair. You're
it's also like, But it's
Head
also
into the
like
abyss,
there, but
that's
for
the
the
worst
grace of
for
God
sure.
go I. Like, I know early on when we started, I needed a little help because it was degenerate and uncomfortable and anxious. I was anxious, blah, blah, so on and so forth. But this was well into things. I mean, this was just
But
a guy
all I'm
probably
hearing
drank
is
too much
they
and
got
did a little too
high,
much.
fucked, and then they went outside to lay snow.
I mean, yeah, here.
The other individual was
And then it turns out
non-binary, but
nothing
it was
ever
clearly a
happened.
uterus haver.
That evening. Meanwhile, Kayla and I were just going to town. I think we made 2 or 3 snow angels that evening, and oof, that's a rough one.
All right. Wait.
Let's go. Let's go.
That's
Now,
fucking.
I want to ask you. So,
By the way, sweetheart, baby, get out of that house. Save yourself.
save yourself, April.
I don't think
No,
he did
not
coke and blow though long.
Oh, fuck April.
He means
Oh,
Kayla.
you, Kayla. Is Kayla welcome to come live with you?
Jesus Christ, no, I can't have a bunch of cokeheads with my fucking kids around.
If she gets clean, if Miss Ricada gets clean and she wants you, is she welcome?
Take it
Kayla
out,
would break
Elmo.
down and tell me she wanted this to be done. She wanted this to be over. I told her numerous times, I will take you to groups. I will take you wherever you want to go. Dude.
You want to help her? Yeah.
I don't want to get choked up
I'll
on
give
a
him that.
stream, but
Out of the whole bunch, she's the most
I have
redeemable
survivor's
one.
guilt from running out of a burning building, and I couldn't pull anybody out.
And I think
Like,
the only one to
I tried.
really completely
I
come back
wanted to
from this will be
pull
April.
my wife out at first, but every time I would confront her on cocaine use, it was just this vitriol of, you're a monster, you're a piece of shit, you're evil, you're a bad guy, and you just want to, like, this invective would come at me, to the point where, like I said, I gravitated to Caleb, so like, this person is showing me affection and
She really,
and she
that
wants
reality
help,
check
and she
really hit
thinks
her
I'm
hard.
good, and I think she's good, and all of these things. I get lost in conversation with this woman. So when Kayla would tell me that she wanted to get out, I would say, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll help you. I'll bring you to a facility. I'll do whatever you need to do. Her biggest thing, and this is such a tragedy now, considering what happened, she said, I can't leave my kids. I remember telling her
This
at one
guy got
point, I
played
said,
by Kayla.
imagine if you went away for 30 or
Hell
60
yeah,
days.
pretty
You
much.
left your kids for 30
She
or
made
60
him
days,
fall
you
for
came
her
back
so
better
her
than you've ever
husband could
been.
fuck
I
April.
think that's better for
Yeah,
your children.
that's, yeah,
You
I'm
can
all
tell
her
Steel
own
Toe never
desire
really
to
did
be a
anything
mother
risky on his life. He
stood
doesn't
in
know
her
how to
way
handle this
of getting the
situation.
help she wanted.
He is the
I think
biggest
she-
idiot in this story.
Yeah, yeah, he
Okay,
is.
so if say she did leave for 30 days, right?
And yeah, they
Who
did
would've
manipulate
watched
him
the kids?
so that
Surely
Nick could have a swear with his wife.
Right?
And it's really, really sad that he
when their nanny quit.
doesn't get
Oh,
that.
they're not quit on them.
Tell
Okay.
us the story of the nanny.
And
we don't know about the
and
nanny
he is
No, we don't.
telling
What
us
about
everything.
3,000
I was
bucks for the
implicating
snacks a week as
everything.
well,
How
right?
he did
Yeah, I heard those
drugs,
stories.
how he
Okay,
was
okay,
part
let's
of the
hear it.
child neglect, and he doesn't even realize he's fucking himself over.
I bet.
Fair enough.
It's a full-on confession he's giving us right now.
F***ing snacks in that house.
The Joe Louis.
Hey, I'm not complaining.
No,
They
and
wanted
the
that nerd
SpaghettiOs were
cooked
top
out of the
shelf.
picture,
I
hell
have-
now.
I'd make a little. I'd go 2 for you, 1 for me. You know. But
Yeah,
no,
Nick
the
wanted both of
nanny
them for
was,
himself.
I think fucking tired of it. Couldn't do it. Actually, no. I remember Kayla sent me a message because she had to sit down with the nanny. The nanny left, and then a few
Lol,
weeks later,
Nick was
I
having a threesome and this idiot
and
was
Kayla
looking after
finally
their
had to
kids.
sit down with the nanny to ask
Yeah.
her why she left. And Kayla was feeling very sorry for herself. And she messaged me and she said,
Not only
well,
a cock, he was even the
I guess I
nanny,
won't say
man.
the
That's
nanny's
so
name. She goes,
fucking
I
funny.
guess the nanny is the same way you are. She said she just
And
couldn't
look
do
at
it
him, he's so
anymore.
proud of
So I'm
himself.
guessing the nanny kind of knew something was up because I was there a lot. April was there a lot, and we'd go right back into the bedroom to hang out. And so I'm sure she thought that was fucking weird. And she's sitting there running the kids around doing all this shit. I'm sure she's a little resentful that there's these 2 other people in the house. We're just hanging out in the bedroom.
How old was the nanny?
Early 30s.
Okay.
She was cute too.
Did you notice a difference in the cleanliness of the home after the nanny or maid?
No, the nanny
left?
didn't really get into the cleanliness. The nanny's full-time job was just like running the kids around and getting groceries and shit.
That's
because
a
when you
burn. He
stream once
doesn't
a
know
week,
how
it's
deep it went till it
busy to drive
actually
the kids.
settles in.
Exactly. So we got to ask about this because it was in the police report that it was a dirty home. There were
That
clothes
police
everywhere.
report is a fucking lie. That house is so much fucking dirtier than that goddamn police report said. Those cops went easy on him. I'm sorry.
Tell
guys.
us. Tell
Okay.
us. Tell us.
Yeah.
You walk into that house. First of all, their observation, dust everywhere, 100%. I remember sweeping. I would sweep the floors. I probably swept the floors 2 or 3
You were a
times.
Janny.
You literally
a literal Janny.
Here's my thing, guys. I didn't want to sit in that fucking bedroom and bathroom all fucking day. I went out and did housework to keep myself fucking busy and see that the kids were all right.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I would go out, and I also had a couple of missions. I'll talk about those in a second. But I would sweep the floors, dusty as I mean, dusty roads, baby. I mean, it was bad. And then you'd go to the kitchen island, you know, the counter area, just filled with papers and shit. You can't put anything on it. Then you go to the dining room table. And before I got there, I was so proud of this. I started referring to it as my table. Their dining room table was
being a cock and a nanny.
Just papers and toys and
holy
all
shit,
kinds
he was
of
even
garbage
cleaning
and shit. And to me, like, I'm an old school, you know, I was raised old school Americana, like the dinner table. That's where you all
I wish I had an Aaron
and everything else. And I'm like, well, let's get these kids somewhere to sit.
Me too, buddy.
So
me
I got
too.
the kids together one day, and Kayla came out for this too. One thing I was really proud
he let
of
me
Kayla,
fuck his
when I
wife,
would
his
have
hot wife.
projects with
You
the kids
clean
to
my house
stuff
and look
up,
after my kids.
Kayla would come out
Buy
and
the drugs.
and be a part of it. And I really thought,
Really can get better than
at
this.
one point, I'm like, I'm gonna pull this woman out of this shit. I really am. I'm gonna help. And
It's
it's just there was always a
It
tractor
is so
being back to
delusional, man. Thinking he can
drugs
save
and
that
all
that lady, man.
just pull her back, unfortunately. But with the table, I got all the
But
kids
they're probably
together.
laughing their asses off
And we
behind his
cleaned off
back.
that table. I mean, we cleaned off what was garbage. What went to this kid's room. I made individual piles for the kids of their stuff, and they took it down to their room.
He should look for a
And
mistress,
we get
master.
towels and with
She,
soap and water.
he could use a
wash
good
the
boy to
table
do
off.
the chores.
We swept the floor around the
Living
table.
the
We
life,
got it
haha.
clean. It was great, and I got the kids dilly bars for helping out cleaning.
Wow.
And this was a very foreign concept.
He's so proud of
Because they
himself.
don't do any chores or anything.
Sure.
So you help them turn the crack house into a crack home, basically.
I know, I'm sitting here as Mr. Nobility. It's like, hey, everyone's throwing blow in the back room.
Very
asshole.
well said,
Good.
PPP.
You're right, Ashton. But then the sink was always
Can I have a
full of
dilly bar?
dishes and never done. So I would always, when I would come over after my show or whatever, I would just start going to work on the dishwasher and the sink and trying to keep that thing empty. And you know what the #1 thing I always ended up putting in that? You know what that dishwasher was always fucking full of?
What?
Fireworks.
What?
Just go ahead, give it your best. What kind of
Sex
dish?
toys?
Was it sex toys?
Right, you went a little deeper than I thought. Whiskey glasses.
Okay. I was
Whiskey
thinking
glass.
there's so many sex toys.
So
There's
he had
dildos.
to make sure the whiskey glasses were clean.
Wait,
But as for the kitchen table his kids ate at, or the floors that they walked
Oh
on.
no, I still
That-
washed the whiskey glasses. I mean, those weren't.
Oh. No, I'm saying, but that was the priority.
Yeah.
The
See, I
priority
knew
was the
Nick had a
whiskey
dirtier house,
glasses,
but
not
less
a
broken
safe space
appliances
for
than
his
Phil.
kids.
I mean,
God
Hold it.
forbid Lord Baldo drink out of a dirty glass, but go on.
What do you think has dirty home, Nick, or the other dude? What was his name again? Aspen Gold.
Was understating the laundry situation. There was dirty laundry from the
Now
laundry room in the
that's
middle
scary
of the hall,
comparison.
out the door, around the corner, down the hallway, into the kitchen. Like into the kitchen area. There were dirty clothes. There were clean clothes in the living room, all over the furniture, all over the floor. They would be getting
These
ready
two
to
are
take the
getting
kids
him
to
to
dance
sing
or
like a
something, and they'd be
canary.
pulling out, like
Ha,
looking
ha,
for
ha, ha.
tights and pulling in the living room for clothing. And you couldn't have company over at this house because where would you have them sit down? The carpets were disgusting, never
A
cleaned,
Dublon
never
Duvel, what
vacuumed,
about that
anything
guy
like
that cooked the toilet
I vacuumed
steak?
their upstairs
How can
carpets
that house
once.
not be
It was
dirtier?
an exercise in futility. I never did it again.
Tell us why. Why was it an exercise in
Of
futility?
course,
Because they were
to be
Those eyes
fair,
really
isn't it?
fit
It was
Andy.
dirty.
It's
and-
like daily though. It was just like.
oh
like
man,
came
you
back
should
from it
wait
next day or 2 days
until
later.
the filter applies to
it was more like the
PPP.
damage has been
That
done.
just looks cursed. Of course, I mean,
And here's the saddest part.
that guy is kind of in a legal
Anybody
zone.
who worked for their money and actually valued
He
what
has
they
transcended all of this.
had would thank Christ every day that they had this home. And this one was just treated like fucking shit.
Yeah. How about the mold? Was there mold? Did you see mold?
I didn't see mold.
All right, because the police said that there was mold in it too, which
Okay.
is kind of fucking,
I'll take their
terrible.
word. I'll take their word for it. They found cocaine. I'm sure they're not lying about
You know,
that.
yeah.
That'd be funny. That's something Ricada would defend too. Like, look, guys, there was no mold in the house. That's horseshit.
PPP just looks like a creepy puppet with those eyes.
Wow. Okay.
Remember, well, Ricada actually would justify licking the bottle because he didn't want to get the carpet dirty. I guess that was a lie too, eh? Why do you think he licked the bottle?
Fucking guy?
Why do you think he licked the bottle?
Because he's a hopeless alcoholic. Kayla would cry about this.
Really? Tell us about that.
We were down in the studio once, and Kayla was sharing with me a theory that she had. She said, Aaron, I swear to God, I think this whole thing was put together so Nick and April could be together. I think they set this up so that the two of them could be together. And she got me kind of thinking it. But like, again, I didn't mind because now my wife had gotten on coke and Kayla was being the fucking sweetest woman in the world. So I was like, you know, at one point I was just like, I got the better end of this deal. I'm happy, you know? And, but she was in the studio one night and her and I were talking and she was on her knees and she picks up 2 bottles and she slams one of them down and she goes, he's a fucking alcoholic. I swear to God. And she just kind of broke down for a little bit. And we just had this conversation about like, can we get him help? Can we do anything? He doesn't think he has a problem. He fucking drinks all the goddamn time.
Oops, my wife's on coke now.
Really tense where
Oopsie,
Nick would come in with a drink and Kayla would say something like,
Kayla's a sneaky. I knew a few and they were sneaky.
And I'm
he is staring into my soul.
Like, oh, like a kid whose parents are about to fight. And I'm just like, oh, I have a tummy ache.
May I ask? Okay, I want to ask you something. So there are some people who are skeptical of your stories, right?
Sure.
So like, you know, there's that guy, I don't even know who the he is, Melton?
Patrick Melton, yes.
Okay, he likes talking about you, right? Some of his people are all over Twitter, right? And they're like, oh, they're believing what? So what would you say to people who don't believe your story?
I was doing cocaine. I was doing Molly. I was being a terrible father. I was in this house at the same time. In no way am I absolving myself of any guilt. At any time I was there, I could have taken those 5 kids, called CPS myself, and gotten them help. I engaged in all
Why didn't you?
Yeah.
Because I'm a piece of shit who will pay for that until the day I fucking die. Up until the day before the arrest, I was on the phone with people going, guys, should I call? I know what's going on, but I also know how this makes me look. I was a chicken shit. I was a fucking coward.
Let me just think, listen, like, we don't need to hear all that shit. We're here to be on your side.
Yeah.
Today.
What I'm saying is, no, Andy asked me to respond to those.
I know.
People.
Well,
Like,
I'm just asking
saying
because there are people like in chat and people who are wondering, oh, if you are lying. I don't think you're lying. These stories sound very consistent to what we've seen.
I'm interested because a lot of people, they ask like, how into this was Kayla? Like, do you think she was originally against Nick's drinking and drugs, and she was dragged into the lifestyle?
He did 2 drugs a couple times, and he thinks this is the worst.
The whole time.
He's a loser that did a bad thing. Lol.
I will. Here's one time in this whole thing to prove this isn't just a shit.
Yeah, he's a retarded loser. Who did a dumb thing.
I can only tell you what I've experienced firsthand.
And he's too chicken to really set things right.
Nick told me. And I cannot remember if I got confirmation of this from Kayla or not. The story Nick told me is that around the time that
she had several chances to call Child Protective Services. He didn't.
Because she thought that's what Nick
Maxing
wanted in a woman because of the things he would talk. Oh, that's what it was. He said that Kayla started doing these things because she thought that's what he wanted. Now Kayla would expound on that.
He's saying all of it to make himself look better in all of in the whole story. Just
the kinds of people he talked
it's so scummy, man.
And I thought that was the kind of woman he wanted. I just wanted to be the woman that I thought Nick wanted, and that kind of led to this. And then Nick just leaned the in.
Is that what Nick's worst day ever was, or do you know what his worst day ever was?
His worst day ever?
Yeah.
A stream?
Yeah, when he said like I had my worst day ever, and then that's like led to this decline. Is that what that was, or do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Ricada has referred in the past to having a worst day ever, and I was wondering if you had any insight into that.
I would think it would be when I let another man my wife, but apparently that was...
So a lot of people in the chat are asking about Kiwi Farms. How much do you blame Kiwi Farms for all of this happening to you guys?
None. I feel like they were reporting.
So you don't feel like they made you guys, you know, swing or do coke or anything? Because that's what a lot of law tubers are saying, is that this is all the fault of Josh.
Yeah, and then he spiraled or whatever, because
these simp assholes. Nick has loved every fucking minute of it and never once has wanted to stop. As a matter of fact, a few weeks ago, the last time I saw Kayla in person, I don't know if Nick and April know I saw her. I'm not sure. But this was after I had departed. I met her on neutral ground. It was great to see her again. And she told me the story of how she had told Nick. And this is so fucking tragic because this may in fact be the batch they got caught with. Ayla said to me, Aaron, it's done. It's over. She even said to me, Aaron, I hope you're proud of me. I've been clean for days now. I said, I had tears in my eyes and I'm so fucking proud of you for that. I'm sick, because that's all I wanted from any of them. Like when I said I couldn't come back, I'm like, guys, I have kids who don't want to come to the house anymore. I can't, I'm hanging around my friends right now. See, the thing about hanging out with people addicted to drugs is that you get shut off from everyone else around you. And
I love how Kiwi Farms and Keemstar is always at the epicenter of these LOL Cows universes.
For a second, but when I told them I wasn't coming back, I was like, guys, I'm in my backyard right now. There's kids all over the lawn. They're playing with their friends. I've got friends and family and neighbors over here. I can't leave this again. I love this shit. We'll get to that later because that's when the Nick kill yourself.
Did Rekieta say stuff about Kiwi Farms in private? Like, okay, can you give us some examples of times he would seethe about it privately?
Yeah.
Well, Andy, let's talk about the thing you and I talked about privately, because I'm sure you want to clear this up.
Sure.
The one thing Nick told me, and I got messages whenever I would mention your guys' show, like when I went over your guys' coverage of the hot tub thing, and I thought it was
jacking me off.
We'll get to that, yeah. But no, I don't know if it got back to you guys, but I watched you guys cover the hot tub thing. I thought it was fucking hilarious, because I'm like, yes, we do look like f***s. Like, there's no getting around it. It's a fucking cringe thing. It was my idea. It didn't fucking pan out. Those three would defend it to the hilt. I'm like, guys, we look fucking ridiculous, and everything that came out of my mouth, I remember going, this is criminally unfunny. Like, this is really
okay. Hold on. Let's go into the decision to do this hot tub stream.
I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
I'm going to get to this because I'm doing a terrible job. Andy, Nick would always tell me the reason I don't like Worski is because he went on the air and he said that when Kayla was walking him back to his room, he said on the air that she tried to give him a hand job.
I never said that. What I said was when I was drunk in Knoxville at the bar, and there are witnesses to this, she was getting really touchy-feely and flirty with me with Nick there. It made me uncomfortable because Nick was like watching, and I was fucking f***ed out of my mind. I never said that she jacked me off. I said that she was getting like flirty and touchy, and Nick was like looking over like, and then I brought that story up because I was like when we were hearing about all the stories about them possibly swinging, I'm like, oh, maybe, I mean, like, she did seem like she was down to probably f other guys and being flirty with people. In fact, she was being flirty with me and touching me and stuff. I never said jack off. I never said jack off.
Who do you think was the driving force behind the decision to open their marriage? Do you think Kayla was pushing for it, or do you think Nick was pushing for it?
You know, it's difficult because I know they were both unhappy, but I also know Nick has a way of making things Kayla's idea that maybe weren't necessarily Kayla's idea. I think Nick knows he's smarter than her, and he kind of uses that. So, I mean, I will say this. I think Nick Rekieta, borderline a monster. I really do. I think he's a bad dude. I don't think he has the ability to feel empathy towards anyone but himself. I think it might be a clinical condition. I mean, the guy is, because he's convinced he's right.
Let me ask you something.
Hear the kind of guilt I'm espousing right now.
That's the cocaine.
You said this in DMs.
He's lost all reason and logic.
Jeff's tier
cult
leader.
Yeah.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is, if you, like when I said I wanted to leave, he treated it like I was leaving the fucking Manson family. Like I said, I'm not coming back. And his fucking words were, you led my wife on.
What?
Like,
what the fuck?
I'm like, I led your wife. What? I led your wife on? Which was a weird fucking thing to say. And then when I said, dude, I can't do it anymore. My kids don't want to be there. If my kids don't want to be there, my hands are tied. There's nothing I can do. And April had left by this point, so she was done. So I was like, this is a clean break. I can be done with April. She can be done with me. The kids can be done. They didn't like April anymore because the drugs had made her, I'll say, love the kids when it was convenient for her. Okay. And they noticed that. And they knew that she wasn't as active in their lives anymore. And my oldest started to resent her. So I was like, you know what? This is a good time to call it. Nick lashed into this invective on Signal where he started saying, you know, you flabby, fat, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Just starts going into these laundry list of descriptive physical features. And then goes, why don't you do the whole world a favor and kill yourself?
Whoa.
And I'm sitting in bed, I read that, and I finally, literally the last thing I ever said to Nick Rekieta was, LOL, okay, addict, and then blocked him. That was it. May I
ask you, why didn't the kids want to be there? Like, what behaviors did they see?
Their parents weren't ever around. Like, they were like, Dad, you're the only one who ever comes out to check on us or anything. We don't play with you. We don't hang out with anybody. You know, we're on our tablets. It's not fun. We don't want to, because everyone was in the bedroom the whole time.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Oh, I have a question here from someone. Yeah. So, okay, the gun charges, the shell casing. Could you explain any of this at all?
I'll tell you this. It was actually, the police report was the first time I ever heard that I was sleeping on a bed that had an AR under it. Whoa. Like, if I would have known that, I would have fucking freaked the fuck out and said, there's fucking, my kids come here and fucking play. Can we get that locked up, please? If I knew there was fucking ammunition and a loaded gun under the bed, you understand that their children come into that bedroom to hug their parents goodnight, and there's a fucking gun underneath the bed? I had no idea.
Let me ask you something. With the black eye that Rekieta got, how do you think he got that black eye, or do you know how he got the black eye?
My opinion, because again, I've been gone for 7 weeks at this time. My opinion, Kayla got mad about the rackets. Either threw something at him or hit him with something in a fight. I don't know if that's true.
This is Kino Casino with Aaron Emmelt talking about his experience living with the rackets.
To me about how
he's the ex-husband of the hot wife that Nick had seen.
She was fighting with him about something. She threw books at him. She's such a smart girl. I love her. A fucking firecracker. She took books out that were like the sanctity of marriage and like a lovely, happy household. She would take those books specifically and throw them at them and say, like, you give a fuck about any of this, you asshole. And she would tell me those stories, and I was like, I like this bitch.
I like that too. That's really taking it to a whole
Booga Sugar Baron.
Meta. Meta fun.
We didn't get a clear answer on this. Can you tell us some times that he would seethe about Kiwi Farms or Josh?
He would tell me like the stories I've read on Kiwi Farms, because I only got into Kiwi Farms.
He also cooked for the kids, looked after them, and was also cleaning the house while Nick was fucking his wife. So he was a nanny, a babysitter, a maid, and
I only heard his take on the Josh shower text story. Nick would always explain these. Now that I've read Kiwi Farms' take on this, I realize Nick was always explaining.
From listening to what he's saying right now, they really manipulated him into all of this.
And you would be like, well, I was just in the shower one time and Josh was freaking out at me in text messages. So I just decided to text him from the shower. It's not a big deal. And I'm like, dude, I've never heard about any of this. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. So I think it definitely bothered him. That kind of stuff.
The best part in all of this, he's proud of himself.
Not that I can remember.
Like he thinks that what he did was a positive thing.
John.
The first time I heard about John was the fucking rant he went on a while back. And I remember the next day I saw Kayla and she was like, I'm so fucking mad. She goes, I never watch his show. I finally decided to watch, and he's doing that, and he's really fucking hammered, and I'm so fucking mad at him right now. Which is a weird place for me to be, because I always kind of respected the unspoken rules about what we were doing, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna bash your fucking husband. And I don't think those rules were respected on the other end, old fucking Warren Jeffs. I think anytime April had a complaint about me complaining about her drug use, Nick was more than happy to be the shoulder to cry on. And here, have another bump, Blondie. Why not? He was the lovely Santa Claus with all the snow, and I was
because you called him Warren Jeffs again. Do you want to explain who Warren Jeffs is?
Was he the sex cult guy, right?
He was like in the Church of Latter-day Saints, and he was obsessed with making the other men's wives his lover, and he also had like child sex offenses against him.
No, none of that.
I don't like steel toe either, though. He was literally doing the can shaking, and he was a degenerate, opportunistic fuck.
He just has a lot of
all of them are fucking degenerate, opportunistic fucks. Excuse me.
He couldn't do it with me. He and I fought a lot. Because I would go,
I'll give him that. He's the most redeemable out of all of them. But they're all still pretty much irredeemable.
All the time. Goes, why don't you just stop lying and be honest with yourself? I'm like, what, you want me to just tell you you're right and we'll just move on? Is that what you want? You know, I mean, when it came to April, I know there were times where she brought up issues we were having, and they came from, Aaron wants me to stop doing coke. I think it's fun. He's a piece of shit. And Nick would go, have another bump, sweetie, and tell me all about it. You know, Nick wants people to drink and do drugs with, like any addict does.
What do you think about this Kayla charge of like child abuse or negligence? What do you think that is? If you had
I really hope that maybe she just yelled something out while the cops were there that got misunderstood. Because I've never once seen Kayla be violent towards those children. I've never seen her be inappropriate towards those children. I've only seen her love her kids.
Have you seen Nick be violent towards the children or neglect the children or abuse them?
I mean, neglect. I mean, the whole thing's fucking neglect. Everything was neglect. But never abuse. No, never abusive towards them.
Yeah, because we're just wondering what that charge is about, and nobody can seem to make heads or tails of it. Maybe it was just that it was such a shit. We just don't know. We just don't know. So I was hoping you might be able to.
I don't know what that could be.
Okay, what about the homeschooling of the kids? Like, how did that work? Was Kayla active in that at this point, or was she just kind of strung out all the time?
It's like a homeschool collective.
Right. What does that mean?
The kids go to like a church school.
You need people like Nick.
Or they go
you
to
need people like him, so you can point your FXCKIN finger and say that's the bad guy.
Teach, and so you'll go to different places. And I remember Nick was teaching for a little bit. He got kicked out of it. The school kicked him out of teaching because he's a fucking degenerate on his program for everyone to see. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I remember one night he punched a hole in his bathroom wall, bitching about the collective kicking him out of teaching. And I remember saying to him and Caleb both, I was like, dude, you understand? Like, they had every reason to kick you out. If they watched my show when I was teaching, I would hope they would kick me the fuck out. One of the big differences between Nick and I was that I knew what I was, and Nick thought he was like a fucking clergyman, I guess. Right. I don't know. Like, I was like, Nick, you understand we're garbage, right? Like, you understand we're shit. Like, we're degenerates and all of this, and like, there's, we got work to do. And he would go on his stream and pontificate about family and all this other shit. Sometimes it made me want to fucking puke. It still does. I remember one time he said, I might start a religious podcast. And I remember looking at Kayla, I go, if he starts a fucking religion podcast, I'm duty bound to stop it. That's not okay.
Now, do you know,
this steel toe guy is such a spineless guy on his soapbox.
Do you know how much intervention they tried to do with Nick? Like, did they sit him down and were like, this is crazy, or what? Because the rumors that are swirling around
to talk now, but when he was in the situation itself, he was pretty much too pushy to do anything.
Trying to beg the people to like him again.
Do you know anything about that?
I don't know a lot about that. I do know if you tried to intervene with Nick, you'd get a giant speech about how right he was. And it would be like standing in front of a full-speed freight train yelling stop. I mean, it wouldn't have done anything.
Do you think Nick actually is religious? Do you think that he actually believes that he's sincere in his faith, or what?
Now you just asked two completely different questions.
Yeah.
Do I think Nick is actually religious? No. I don't think he holds any of the tenets of faith. Do I think Nick believes he is? 100%. I think he believes it.
Let me ask you, a lot of people have been asking about this. Did he ever talk bad about anybody in LawTube or any of his YouTube friends behind their back?
I know that he'd trash Vic a lot. He'd be really, he'd be really dismissive towards Vic. You know,
what would he say?
Just about his sexuality and shit like that, and like it was just all very catty. You know, it was nothing like big and earth-shattering. It was just he was always really catty and shitty, and how none of the Vic stuff was his fault, and Vic should have done this and that. And I remember him being really shitty about that. He hates Alex Stein.
Whoa.
Why?
Really? Why?
I don't know. The reason he gave was fucking gay, and it was to try and get my wife's pants. Not that he needed to try any harder. We were already fucking each other. But he was like, oh, I was on a stream with April on Chrissy Mayer's program, and Alex Stein.
They're all big bosses, but this steel toe guy is on a different level.
That's why I don't like.
Not only is he a cook, but he rolls over on people super easy.
Night asshole. Like, that's not why. It's like, I'm her husband, and all I did was I DM'd Alex afterwards. I'm like, do you and I have a problem? Do you want to come on the show? Like, what's the deal? Nick's like, white knighting, like, April, you know, I just don't like Alex Stein because he trolled you a little on Chrissy Mayer's show. And, you know, and then April would be like, oh, that's great, Nick. You're such a good man. You know, he hates Alex Stein. He'd be shitty about the Vic thing. Anytime Nick had to post any kind of L, there would always be a long explanation as to why everyone else is wrong and he's right. Kind of like him getting arrested.
The way he always does with anything, though.
Yes.
It's like with anything at this point.
Habitual. He's habitually incapable of taking any responsibility for anything. And boy, you talk about projection. This guy will accuse everyone else of the very things he's incapable of. Every time, without fail. You could set your watch to it.
Do you want to tell us about the parenthood story that made you want to beat his ass? What was it that made you want to beat Rekieta's ass in specific?
I told this story vaguely on the show, but we can get into it fully.
Okay.
If April had not been in my house one day, I may have been arrested first for physically beating someone within an inch of their life.
Yeah, bullshit.
We were at my house. Now, we have to go back to December or November to start this story, because the story happened around February, March. It was before Easter, I know that. After Valentine's Day, before Easter, because I bought Kayla a lovely Valentine's Day gift. And sweetie, sugar, if you're listening, make sure you get out of that house and get free. You've got so much more to offer the world, sweetness. All right? Love you too.
Did he get April a Valentine's Day gift?
No.
What a prick.
What a fucking asshole. I got Kayla Star Trek action figures.
Which ones?
I got a Khan and then some black dude, I don't know. But I knew she'd know. Yeah, it was a Drew Hill collection. No, it was some Star Trek action figures and then some snacks that she likes for her snack drawer next to her bed. And for her birthday, you know, she likes like charcuterie snacks and things like that. So I thought, you know what, Kay, sweetie pie, love of my life, gorgeous. I said, wouldn't it be nice to have something to keep all your snacks cool next to your bed? So you can have them there. I bought her a nice, like, old-timey looking 50s Frigidaire refrigerator and freezer for her bedroom. You know, the retro-looking ones? Oh, yeah. What a gentleman.
Were you trying to, like, steal her, like, to be your own wife? Would you feel like that was your mentality?
Was I trying to steal her?
Like, not steal, but like,
no,
make her fall in love and then make her leave, and then like you were from everything that you're saying, it sounds like you were trying a little bit.
I mean, I'm f***ing with Nick a little too, but I mean, really, yeah. I wanted to get her the f*** out of there. I don't know if I
be with her.
We're a little bit sidetracked, but let's go back to the story where you wanted to beat his
real quick. I'll answer that question by saying this. Realistically, there's no fucking way her and I could be together. Okay. She's got 5, I've got 3. Well, I'd blow my
would you be willing to step up?
I wanted to get her the fuck out of that house.
Like, let's say Rekieta goes to prison and she gets off. Would you be willing to step up and help raise the 5 kids?
I can't get involved with that world anymore.
You wish you could.
Brother, I've made too many promises to too many people who have helped pick me up off the floor from this thing, who would dump me in a heartbeat, drop me
Fair
flat.
enough. But at that
Leo,
time,
what
you
is the
would've.
name of the game in the corner me and my cousins
At that
use
time, I would've
to
jumped
play
in
it
front
all
of
the
traffic
time?
for this
There
one.
we go. That's what I wanted to, yeah.
loved her. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's finish that
All right,
story.
back to the story where you're gonna beat his ass.
Hey, I'm not
So the first
big
time
ups,
they
and
came over, one
the
of the
name
first
of the
times they
game
came
is
over, I was
Conflict
standing in the kitchen.
Vietnam.
And I'm already
Just
not
Google
comfortable
Conflict Vietnam
with the cocaine.
PS2 or
If I
something,
would've
you'll find the
known
game.
When we started,
It's a good
how
game.
into
It's
blow
very unforgiving.
Nick Rekieta and everyone were, I wouldn't have done this because I had no idea. But he takes the little bullet, the little container.
Looks like a
cocaine
PS2 war game.
out of his pocket.
Yeah, it
puts
is.
little line down
It's
for
a
himself on my kitchen
PS2
counter and just
third-person shooter.
takes it up.
Yeah, war game pretty
And
much.
I look at him and
They
I go,
have.
dude.
It's
the
a
fuck are you
whole
doing?
franchise. I
He
think
goes,
they
"What?"
have like
I go,
3
I
or
got
4
3
installments.
kids. And
They
an
also
ex-wife,
have
if she found
Conflict
a speck of that
Desert
shit in my
Storm,
home, my
Conflict
kids would
Desert
be gone
Storm 2,
tomorrow. Don't ever
Conflict
bring that shit
Global
into my house
Terror.
again. Okay, I
But
understand. Yeah, I get it. No, I'm a
Conflict
lawyer. I
Global
get
Terror
that.
isn't really that
Yeah,
good.
it
I'm
used
a
to put us through hell. We never
Sorry,
beat
that's
it.
funny. Okay, good.
Yeah, it took. I
did
gave
a
it
great
up.
job of
I
showing
just
up to
rage quit it, but
traffic.
as a kid, I came back to it like 5
Thanks.
years
My State
later
Farm
and
bill
then beat it.
appreciates it.
Like
But so then
grenades and
fast forward a
rocket
couple months later.
launchers are very OP in this game.
I'm walking around downstairs. My kids are there. No Rekieta kids are there. My children are there. And I'm just walking around checking on them. You know, what are you doing? All this stuff. I think I had made waffles that morning, and I was cleaning up from making a waffle. I hear Nick yell, "April, we made one for you." And it was coming from upstairs. And I'm like, well, I know they ain't making fucking muffins and shit. And I walk upstairs. You know that feeling you get where you go, don't be right. Don't be right.
Yeah.
Don't be right.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Please.
I'm walking upstairs, and I see the mini safe that I know the cops eventually confiscated one day, open on my bathroom, my bedroom bathroom counter, full of drugs.
This is so badass.
I didn't yell at Nick and Kayla right then and there. The kids were downstairs. I didn't want to cause a scene. I walked down the stairs. I go, April, could you come into the
He
kitchen,
was
please?
okay with having his wife
comes into
fucked.
the
He was
kitchen, I'm
okay
like,
with being the nanny. He was okay with being the fucking maid. He was okay with being manipulated, but that.
And they said they just made one for
That
you,
really,
so
that,
you had
that
to know this was going on.
container of drugs that really kind of pushed him to his limits.
They brought a
Not
safe?
angry, not irate, not, hey, my 3 stepkids, who I claim to love more than life itself. Not like, get the fuck out of here, you lunatics. It was, oh, I will go talk to them. Like she was HR, you know, going to discipline someone for smelling a lady's chair or something. So she does that. I'm fucking losing my mind. I go downstairs to be away from everybody. And to come and console me from how angry I am, who do you think would come down to talk to me about this?
Kayla.
Oh, see, I would think my wife would come down to console me and talk to me about this and figure out what was going on. But yes,
Yeah.
Well, after seeing the whole story, yes.
Yeah.
the dear, sweet, lovely Kayla
Tears
came
of
down,
joy.
tears in her eyes. I'm so sorry. This is wrong. I apologize. I forgot. We're so sorry. You asked us not to, and we didn't respect that.
Yeah,
Blah,
the
blah, blah,
levels
blah,
of
blah. Made me
cucking
feel
and
better a little.
manipulations are
I'm like,
godlike.
okay, you know what? We'll continue on with our day.
Let's
I go,
write
"If
a
that
book about
fucking
it."
happens again, I'm out of here. Now, in that moment, I should have been done. It should have been it. Before anyone goes, oh, Aaron's just a rat who thinks he's a saint. No, I fucked up. I failed in that moment right there.
Your wife
Then,
was busy, lil
I go
bro.
upstairs into the middle floor. I go to check on my youngest, the 4-year-old. And by the way, before anyone goes, should you really be telling these stories? My ex-wife has been such a fucking trooper. I've talked to her about I've come clean to her about everything. She's been great. She's just glad that I got, you know, our children out of there and everything else. I go up to the 4-year-old to check on her, and I see a navy blue container right next to her. And I pick it up, and in my head, I'm just going, it's Bubbles. It's Bubbles. It's got to be Bubbles. The kids are playing with Bubbles or something.
No.
I walk towards the kitchen. I start unscrewing the lid, and I'm audibly out loud saying, no, don't. Full of cocaine.
It was the bullet, right?
It was the bullet.
He left it in the couch.
He was sitting on the couch watching something,
On
and
purpose?
it just sat there. No, it just fell out of his pocket and sat there next to my fucking 4-year-old after I'd asked him not to bring this shit into my house.
I like how he has his chest out for these
By
stories.
the way, this is why
calm down, Jigglypuff.
bury him under the jail.
But why are you saying all this after the fact, loudly crying?
A bat nine. What's that?
It was next to your kid?
It was next to my 4-year-old.
Oh my God. It's over.
I yelled for April
Open
to
mouth
come down.
smile.
I said, April, and I just held it out like this. And she goes, oh my God. I go, yeah, oh my God. Everybody out now. And I give it to her. She runs it up. I send a text to her. I go, I want everyone out of the fucking house. I could not be more upset. And
yeah, so
Kayla, I go out to the garage. It's Minnesota. It's chilly. And I'm sitting there. I got a blanket on because I'm just thinking, like, how do I not go and kill Nick Rekieta? Like, how do I not fucking beat this guy within an inch of his life? I'm not going to make a scene in front of my kids, but the animalistic part of me was like, just pummel him. Just beat the fuck out of him.
yeah.
Kayla comes out to the garage. Again, tears.
He was about to go
And I
into
said,
beast
Kayla,
mode.
this is it. Like, it's got to be that shit or me. Like, I'm out of here. She goes, no, you're right. It has to stop. It's done now. We have to cut it out. We have to be done. It's got to be over. This is too much. We could have killed one of the kids, blah, 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 blah. Yes, wonderful. Thank you.
I don't think he
April
could.
goes upstairs to be with Nick. To make sure poor Nicky's okay, because he feels so bad about almost killing a 4-year-old. Kayla and I sit there playing board games with the kids the rest of the afternoon until they have to leave. April never once comes down to say a word. I go up to say goodbye to April. Nick and Kayla.
April was probably busy, like, sucking him up and swallowing it.
To tell April I'm taking the kids. She's sitting in the shower sobbing. Somehow, this has all become my fault because I was mean to her and I told her to leave the house. And how dare you do that? And Nick's really sorry, you know. And I went, you're gonna
was such a
fucking make
shit
me
show,
feel
man.
bad
Loudly
after all this
crying.
shit.
Yeah, those are tears on their
The whole night is
cheeks.
a blur because it was a disaster. It was filled with fights and screaming and yelling. I know Kayla threw a fucking drink, an iced tea from Popeyes in Nick's face. I know that Nick started hitting himself again like a fucking ape. Oh, I gotta tell you the baseball bat
This
story too.
man, Nick would hit himself.
That
That's
was
so
the bullet- that was
fucking
the bullet
funny.
story.
Tell us the baseball bat story.
Baseball bat story.
We're out
She's in the
one night.
shower crying with Cat.
This is where I got to be like Sting. This is exciting.
By the way, Cat agrees with you.
We're coming back. And it's pretty well understood that Kayla and I are going to go upstairs.
So you couldn't take a single kid out of the house into a better place.
April can do whatever it is they do. But Nick has this weird thing where he wants Kayla
Yeah,
to say
parties,
it.
dude.
Like, he's texting her, what do you want to do when we get back? It's already been established what's going to happen, like what's going on. And Kayla's like, oh, you know, we're going to go hang out upstairs. Who's we're? You mean me or you mean Aaron? She's like, well, and then it starts this big fight. They start fighting about it via text.
No.
Because he wanted for some, I don't know if it's a sick, weird thing that he's got where she needs to say that she wants to fuck me. I don't know what it is. But it ends with April and I are upstairs and we
He
hear
didn't
shouting
realize
in
all
our
these
front
people
yard.
could all be fucked up and not be
Which
in their
is
right state
fucking
of mind.
embarrassing. You don't want your neighbors hearing a fucking domestic in your front yard. So April and I go out there, and Nick is yelling at Kayla, going, "Hit me, fucking hit me, fucking hit me, fucking hit me." He's screaming, "Fucking hit me" at Kayla.
Yeah.
And I get Kayla separated from him. April gets Nick separated from Kayla. And I go, "Hey, get in the fucking house. Enough with yelling." And he looks at me. He goes, "Aaron, you better get the fuck away from me right now." Now, I go about 6'4", 215. Nick's about 6'2", 140. I just got right in his face, laughed at him, and I go, "You're not gonna do shit." And then I walked in the house. He's losing his
What
fucking
a
mind. So then
badass.
Kayla gets back in the house. He gets back in the house. Boom, they just start into it again. Just yelling at each other, just blah, blah. At one point, Kayla says to him, and I think she did it to trigger him. I don't know if she was being serious or not, but Kayla says to him, "Every time I've ever had sex with you, I faked it."
Whoa.
Whoa.
To Nick?
Really?
Oh, he lost his shit.
Let's
Well, what did he say to
go.
that?
He fucking lost. What are you fucking? He's
Aaron, you got cooked and didn't do shit to dude.
Of all the things I've ever heard anyone criticize Nick over,
what a Giga Chad face with
questioning
rolling
his
eyes.
sexual prowess set him off more than anything else. You could have said he was a cokehead who neglects his kids, and he would have went, well, I've read some articles that say, actually, when you do coke when your kids are around,
better.
He was found out. He never pleased his wife. He was always soft.
It's a Giga cock.
Pills.
Well, you used
So
the
what you're
Baldo.
saying is it was in fact him who had never made his wife come.
I don't know that.
According to her.
Taking the cock to a new
Did
level.
Kayla say you were better than Nick in bed?
She never said that. The only thing I ever heard was April once said to me that Nick told her, I've never heard Kayla make those noises before. When he was downstairs and they were upstairs, the night he couldn't perform and we were doing Snow Angels, I guess they had to hear us, which I don't take pride in that. That's not good. I feel bad. Like, that's not something you want to hear. That's a terrible thing to have to experience. But April told me after, she goes, yeah, Nick said he's never heard he's never heard Kayla make those noises before. And look, that feels good. That feels good to hear.
Tell us about the Super Bowl story.
No, do the baseball bat first.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So they're fighting,
All
and
of
then
them was a little bit of ego
different parts
stroking.
out of context. At one point, Nick says to Kayla,
I'm
sorry, I'm
that's
just
all
not
it
a
took
good
for him
enough
to
lawyer."
cook for his kids, clean his house, and basically handing his wife over to him.
And
That's all
I'm
it
sorry,
took.
this is the only way I can make a living for us. She was talking about how much she hates his show. I hate your show. I hate when you do it. I hate what it's done to us, this and that. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm not a good enough lawyer. And I'm like, Jesus. And I'm sitting here, I got a show in the morning. I'm like, guys, I want to fucking go to bed. Jesus Christ. Because April and I are upstairs. April's genuinely concerned. I'm just sitting here going, this is fucking ridiculous. April and I are 8 years apart. There's a lot of shit that happened where I'm just like, guys, this is embarrassing. We're 40. And April will be like, no, this is serious. We need to talk about it. I've never heard more people reference killing themselves than this group of people when they're high and like drama happens. And I'm just like,
Really?
oh my God, April's like, you have no idea when we were getting divorced. I wasn't around the kids anymore, which by the way, she left the kids without saying goodbye, left me to have that conversation. So fuck you and your attitude towards the kids, using it when it's convenient for you, when you're not, you know, but she goes, I've asked Nick to kill me so many times. It's like, well, then you guys all need to go get help because that's fucking insane.
She's asked Nick to kill her. Wow.
Oh, and then Nick does this motion 5 times a day. When he's fighting with Kayla or he's frustrated about something.
How often does he hit himself in the head like a
3 times. I saw it 3 times.
Just 3 times. Yeah.
That you saw.
So-
Yeah.
Amazing.
So now Nick, then they start fighting again. April and I go upstairs. We're like, this is exhausting.
Mm.
I finally hear yelling again. I go downstairs. He has Kayla cornered in our half bathroom in the entry. You know how a house where you'll walk in and there will be a bathroom right away, just a toilet and a sink right away that people can go into? He's got her in one of those smaller bathrooms, and he's got her up against the corner of it, shouting at her. Now, I'm a big enough dude that I can handle a Nick Rekieta with one arm. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I don't know what he's on. I don't know what the deal is here. So I go out to the garage, and I get a baseball bat. I put it between the two of them. I push him aside, and I go, get the f*** back. And he walks around the kitchen beating himself in the head, and then April looks at me and she goes, you didn't need to bring that baseball bat in, you know. I'm like, a fucking 6'2" man is standing over a 5'2" woman. She's crying.
Sure,
He's shouting at her in the bathroom.
Do I believe him
You know
now?
what? I should have
You
broke
re-
fucking ribs with
You
it.
really were the icon Sting, Aaron.
I was Sting. I wanted to play the music.
Aaron from the rafters. Oh, with the baseball bat.
Oh my God, and we're out of time.
Yeah, stay back. Hey, man. Yeah, I know, Chad. Go ahead. Make your jokes.
Walk back.
Stay the back.
Is there any more to the baseball story or what?
No, I was fucking Kayla and I went upstairs and I talked to her a little bit. Nick, April consoled Nick, and then I was like, I gotta fucking go to bed. So Kayla went down and talked with all 3 of them. And I got a couple hours of sleep.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you this. This is where we get a little filthy here, okay? You mentioned to people that Nick brought you to the sodomy barn. Okay, what was it called? Pure Pleasure?
Pure pleasure.
Okay, so let's hear about Pure Pleasure, where they sell used dildos and have at the back, what was it called? Like little booths to watch?
Yeah.
I will say this, boys. I hate to ruin it for you. I didn't know anything about the booths until I saw your coverage of it.
Oh!
Okay. So you didn't go into the booth with Kayla or...
No.
Did he go into the booth with April or?
No, nobody went to any booths. Again, I didn't know there were booths. You know how I told you that I was a complete gentleman and bought Kayla lovely, thoughtful gifts for her birthday?
Yes.
Well, Nick thought that we should buy April should buy her a sex toy from Pure Pleasure for her birthday. What a gentleman.
So that was how it came up. So that's how it came up, right? The idea of going to the sodomy barn or Pure Pleasure.
Yes, picking something out for April for her birthday.
So you're gonna go with him to buy a sex toy for your wife.
Was it remarkably uncomfortable? Yes.
Okay.
Actually, it was more Kayla who ended up picking it out. But like, it was like the two of them were like, we want to buy April something for her birthday.
What did you buy? What did they buy? What did they purchase?
Some kind of vibrator thing. I don't even know.
Was it used or new?
Did I ever tell you that Nick brought a St. Andrew's cross to a hotel?
Wait, what?
Go ahead. Wait, what?
Okay, go ahead, explain.
Thing, you know, the St. Andrew's.
The sex cross?
Yeah.
Okay. Now listen, start telling us some of these stories with the sex cross or
like this was the first time we ever switched partners.
Okay.
Nick wanted to show off his big sex cross that he had, so he fucking packed it with him when we went out for his birthday in Minneapolis. Like, he brought this big fucking sex cross and then put it up like it was normal. And like, there's a lot of red flags here as I look back where I went, I should have fucking gotten the shit out of here a long time ago.
No shit.
When there's a giant sex cross in a hotel room, and
what
is
was
the sex cross?
through your mind when he unveiled the sex cross?
What is the sex cross?
I can tell you, quote, what my thought was in my head was, why the fuck is there a giant sucking fucking sex cross in the middle of a hotel room?
And then did he fuck your wife?
Okay, we back.
No, he didn't. Nobody got fucked on the sex cross that night.
Can I ask, what is the sex cross? What is
like,
it?
you know the Bolton family sigil in Game of Thrones?
Sure.
Kind of like that. It's the X.
And then
so you put somebody on it. You put somebody on it.
Undertaker put Stone Cold on.
Undertaker, I'm gonna get your ass, you son of a bitch. How do you bring it? Like, do you bring it in a big duffel bag? Like with
it's a giant. It's in a giant.
What the f? Holy shit!
How weird is it that a safe full of cocaine is the second weirdest thing you bring to a hotel room?
Okay, tell us about some of the other degenerate sex toys that he.
I really want this to be the truth.
I remember April and I walked into their bedroom once, and they were clothed, but they had their sex swing set up, and they were like, "You guys want to try this?" And we're both like, "It's a little, a little sudden."
Yeah, can you explain like it's a sex swing?
Yeah, just you sit in it. As Kayla described it to me, she goes, "No, Aaron, I sit in it and you f me."
Did you f her in the sex swing?
I didn't do the sex swing.
Why not?
Just the opportunity never came up.
Well, it was right there.
No, they set it up. Like, and they took it down after, like, they showed it to us. Like, it wasn't like always up. Okay. It's not like you walk in there, like our kids walk in and there's a.
So they like hung it like on like a fucking chain or something, right?
So
like,
Andy, don't you ever show off your sex swing for your friends?
yeah, all the time. Yeah, what the fuck is wrong?
So
what
he was
sex
gonna
toys?
build a sex dungeon, right?
Oh yeah, he talked about the sex dungeon before.
I thought that was a meme.
No, he wanted to build a sex dungeon.
Was
Tell
it beside the
sex dungeon.
I don't remember the specifics of the sex dungeon. In my head over time, the legend has grown. I was thinking maybe there's like a candelabra and he turns it to the right and a wall opens up, but I don't know. That's just my own machination.
Did his wife get fucked in the sex swing?
Toys are we talking
she did, didn't
about?
she?
Sex swings.
You fucking know she did.
She definitely
he always
did.
wore a butt plug.
Yeah, she definitely did.
What? No, you mean,
guys, I'm kidding.
what actually was going on? Like,
You may as well.
You know, at this point.
Just go.
As far as sex toys go, I don't remember other ones.
Like vibrators, fucking beads.
I remember
You're telling me that this guy went to the Pure Pleasure store and all regularly And yet the only sex toys he had were a sex swing and a
No,
sex
I'm not
cross.
saying those are the only sex toys. They had a whole dresser that was full of sex toys.
A dresser.
Yeah, a dresser with multiple shelves. Yeah, the whole thing.
Not just like a night table. It was the full-on.
And he showed you, it was like the bat cave of gooning.
You ass motherfucker, no.
So it was like the bat cave of gooning. And so did he like pull out the drawers and like explain
No.
various tools that he had?
No.
Then how are you aware then of the dresser full of sex toys?
It's probably the times they pointed at it and said, "That's our dresser full of sex toys."
They just said that, like, this is just casually, this is our dresser full of
Well,
sex
you have the cupboard that your plates are in. They have a dresser full of sex toys.
Right. Did he ever get pegged?
Not that I ever saw.
It's not a denial.
I can't say. No, I'm only speaking to things that I personally experienced. I never saw the man get pegged.
Okay. Let me ask you this. What, like, aside from him going soft, what was the most embarrassing sexual thing that happened with Rekieta?
I would say the day that, you know, the day that April had to come up and ask me for a pill.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's pretty. That
story.
sucks. You know.
Super Bowl story.
There was a weird time. Okay, here's a weird before Super Bowl story.
Sure.
Oh, by the way, Super Bowl story was baseball bat story. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Same one. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, God damn it! This was a goddamn good one. I can't remember.
Come on.
Sure. You saying where you were?
You said Super Bowl story, and that sidetracked me.
Well, everyone in chat was asking for Super Bowl story.
We were talking about sex toys, embarrassing sex stories.
Okay, the worst thing that ever happened was April had to ask for the pill thing.
Yeah, that's where we were.
And no.
Sorry, bar. Okay, how about this gay bar? Gay
what about
bar.
gay 90s.
Boys,
gay
you're gonna hate this, because I would react the same way you're reacting. I had a fucking blast at that place.
I'm not surprised.
You, Ashton. No, it was. I like karaoke. It's probably the only thing Nick and I have in common. By the way, Kayla and I had a very special song we would always sing together. I don't even know if I have the strength to listen to it ever again, because it was such a beautiful tune that me and my baby always sang.
What was it?
It was a song by. Now I'm a who loves Eric Church.
Right.
It was a song by Eric Church and Susan Tedeschi called "Mixed Drinks About Feelings."
Right.
And her and I would sing it as a duet.
We know loudly
knock
crying.
it out every time. Our official song that Kayla picked out, Chris Young, "Who I Am With You." There you go.
Now, did Rekieta and your wife have a special song, or?
It's like degenerate Machine Gun Kelly music. They had no fucking taste, these two. Kayla and I were the soul of things.
I see. I gotta ask you, did Nick ever talk about Alyssa clips?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Tell us about
big ups Alyssa clips.
about Alyssa.
Here's the thing. I would always bring up you guys, or I would bring up Alyssa clips, because I would watch it and I would think it's
Nick
funny.
Rekieta's,
Even when they clip me, because I know what the fucking game is.
So
But sometimes you're gonna do dumb shit and people are gonna fuck on you for it. And then other times, other people are gonna do dumb shit and you fuck on them for it. So I would let them know, you know, like, oh, I saw this Alyssa clip where I was doing this thing. I go, it was fucking cringe. It was so bad, but it was really funny. Or like you guys, there would be clips of you guys all the time. And like, you know, we'd watch them on our show. And we just like, I just don't take myself very seriously. So if we do something gay and cringe and someone makes fun of it, I watch it for the humor value of it. And no offense, Andy, but Ashton's investigative reporting on the hot tub stream.
Oh, it was great.
It was the funniest shit I've ever fucking watched.
No, dude, it's funny.
You guys are complete degenerate.
Well, he goes, Andy, wait till he's like, wait till I show you what I got. And I'm like, all right. And I'm like watching, like, whoa.
I gotta ask you.
And
I loved it.
is there.
I gotta ask you, man. So it was your idea to do the hot tub stream. What were you thinking?
I was just neck deep in pussy, and the girls thought it would be fun.
Okay, so let's talk about the decision-making process that led to the hot tub stream, because it was basically you guys almost openly coming out that you were in like a poly.
See, that was my idea. My idea was we'll be so in your face with it that they'll be like, there's no fucking way they're actually doing it. Nobody would be this fucking retarded to do this. And instead, what you guys all did was just went, oh, these guys are swinging and they're just retarded.
May I say one thing then? On your show, you're like, Andy wants to believe it's true. I was right.
You know what I was doing, Andy?
What?
Lying.
All right.
I was lying.
So nobody.
I was lying.
Let's go.
I was lying so that on Twitter for the last 72 hours, people wouldn't call me a.
Yo, this stream is so surreal.
Okay, so what did Rekieta say? He thought it was a good idea to do this?
Well, he was in it, so of course it was brilliant.
Oh my god.
He never thinks he does anything wrong, dude.
It really is, isn't it?
Some of the, like, I've always said this about like Kiwi
That
Farms and other
shit's
places.
wild.
Like some of the theories
It's like a
people come up
Scarface
with,
movie.
20% of them are fucking insane.
But not gay, of course.
50% of them, there's some truth to it. 30% of them, it's like they're in the fucking room. I have thought before, I've been like, is the ex-nanny leaking information? Am I sleep texting people? Like, how the fuck? Like, because this is like spot fucking on.
Because it seems like in this circumstance, with a lot of what you're saying, everybody was right, you know?
Yeah, and I lied my balls off to protect everybody involved. But now that they all got fucking arrested and humiliated me, and then when I contact them, they're all still in denial that they have any sort of problem. And then one of these motherfuckers left deadly amounts of cocaine next to my 4-year-old. I don't give a fuck if I bury you under the jail. I don't owe these people any fucking loyalty. It could have destroyed my fucking life. I made terrible decisions, and it was all with
that's
them.
okay. What did you know anything about Mandy, or did Rekieta ever mention Mandy? And what happened there?
I read the history of Mandy, so I don't know if he ever talked about it.
As a newcomer, I just feel like I'm in the twilight zone looking into the strange and unhinged folks of the internet.
Okay. What about Dick Masterson? Did he ever talk about Dick?
Oh yeah, he talked about Dick Masterson, and love Dick Masterson. Oh, he's a cool guy. Oh, he thinks you guys are really funny too, and we'll hang out with Dick Masterson and blah blah blah. And he used to tell people. And
yeah, this is the 1% of the internet. This is our own little corner.
I have to buy friends. And then I see the way he treats people who don't 100% go along with what he wants. And I'm like, well, now I understand why this guy thinks he has to buy friends. But Dick Masterson was always, he goes, I told Dick, I've never seen Kayla more happy in years than when she's with you. And I just told him how great. I'm like, Nick, you probably shouldn't tell too many fucking people that. That's weird.
Wow.
People are going to hear that and they're going to go,
funny, even after he got out, all it took to shut him the fuck up was have Kayla, like, send him an app every once in a while saying, I'm almost out, I'm almost out. And that's all it took to shut him the fuck up. That's just sad. He's such a simpleton.
Right, okay. And what other things would he say about just that he was so cool, that he looked up
Vito,
to him?
how about
And
Vito?
like
How about
live
Vito?
events they'd done. So I had always heard the allegations about Vito, and I would ask Nick about them because I'm not as into the
He's a
sector.
self-admitted map respecter, that guy.
Well, now see what Nick
Yup, it
says.
is
What
sad,
Nick
ha
says
ha 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 ha
is
ha.
that people say that about him because Vito came out and defended the movie Cuties and said, if you don't like it, don't watch it. And so people started calling him a pedophile.
There was a lot more than that, but yeah, go ahead.
I'm telling you, that's all he told me.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Did Dick Masterson know Rekieta was using coke or drugs?
No idea. I don't.
He wasn't. You don't
and
know
Nick,
how
and
open
Dick
he was
Masterson
to
has
that?
only been nothing but nice to me in the very few interactions we've had.
So Rekieta was willing to tell Dick Masterson that somebody else was fucking his wife, but not that he was going to do coke.
Again, I don't know if he said fucking. He just said, Aaron, has made Kayla happier than I've seen her in years. He didn't say anything about.
Do you know if Dick and 80s Girl were swinging with Rekieta and Kayla, or
I never got that idea. No.
you didn't get that idea?
No, I didn't get that vibe when they talk about it.
Tell us about the couch story.
That was the the couch story was the next to my daughter.
That we already did the couch story.
Yes.
The embarrassing sex thing. I remember what it was now.
Beauty, go.
Good.
Kayla had gotten me a birthday present. I'm a cigar smoker. I like to smoke cigars every once in a while. And she got me this beautiful ostrich skin zip up cigar humidor with cigar holders and, you know, humidity trackers and everything. It's just really a nice cutter in there, a nice lighter. It was just really nice cigar set. And Nick goes, oh, I want her to present your gift to you. And so Kayla got completely naked, came down the stairs. This is at my house. I was seated on the couch. And like Nick was seated on the couch too.
What?
And she brought the gift down to me and like sat on my lap and gave it to me. But like Nick's right there.
Oh my God.
I remember that was fucking weird to me. And then he goes like, I'm going to leave you two alone. So then he goes upstairs.
I can't get behind cigars. I tried once, not for me, disappointed.
And like, I'm totally not getting into it because I can see Nick peeking around.
Yeah, the idea of cigars is kind of...
So Nick was watching you his wife.
I kind of feel the same.
Oh, no, I wasn't. I couldn't.
It's a smoke cigars, but at some point, it's just too much.
Top of her on the couch, and we're making out, we're fucking around and shit. But like, every
It's
once in a
more of a
while,
novelty thing,
I
honestly.
can see Nick peering around the door. And I finally just went, because we were going to go out to lunch after I opened the gift. And I go, guys, can we just fucking go out to lunch? I can't do this with people fucking staring at me and like peeking around the door. And he's like, oh, sorry, I just want to know like what you guys were doing, so maybe I know what we should do. And I'm like, I don't need an explanation. If some guy is fucking staring around the corner, fucking watching me, I'm not into it. Sorry. There were so many instances where Nick wanted to know what Kayla and I were doing.
You didn't like being the bull, basically, and having him watch. That was
I liked having my own time with my sweet baby Kayla, with the gorgeous love of my life, beautiful. If you see this, honey, take care of yourself. I hope you're all right. But no, there was.
Why do you think Ricada wanted to watch you with his wife?
There was a weird vibe I got where I don't know if he wanted to watch, because anytime like there was one time where she would always try to sneak a little when we were in the bed and other people would be there, almost like to see if she could get away with it. I mean, not that I'm fucking complaining.
Like touching you and shit when you're like everyone's sleeping,
like putting me in.
Whoa, okay.
And then one time we got into it and she went and reached for Nick's hand and he got his hand away and left the room. He's like, no, I'm not into that, because he didn't know anything was going on. So like, we would get really kind of risque with our shit every once in a while. We got her and I would get talking tos from Nick and April quite a bit. I know I got a talking to for our behavior, which always struck me as fucked up and weird, because I'm like, sorry, just the two of us are doing our thing, and you know, we're not busting down the door to see what the fuck you guys are doing. Like, it's just weird. They were like, Nick would be like, well, you guys, and because when Nick was down doing his show, April would sit down there and watch.
Right.
She would watch him do his show, and Kayla and I would be upstairs free to do what we like.
May I ask you the setup? Like the setup real quick before? Can you remember that story?
She was a corner demon.
Was there like a couch there and a table with booze on it?
Oh, chair. Just she'd sit in a chair.
Just a chair. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And sometimes they'd come up for that 1 hour break, and Kayla and I would be a little busy, and Nick would knock on the door, or they'd walk in sometimes, and that was always a little weird. Where they just walk. I remember one time we were at my house, and Nick walked in, and Kayla was on top of me, and Nick lost his fucking mind. Keep in mind, there was a closed fucking door. Kayla's on top of me. Nick loses his mind. We stop. Kayla's in the bed. The door's open. I see Nick out the door. I'm like, Nick, sorry that you had to say it. No, don't you fucking talk to me. Not now. And he's like on the verge of tears, like yelling at us. And I'm like, we didn't fucking ask you to come in. There was always these weird times where like Nick would text me, like I told you earlier, asking me where I touched her. Or like one time they walked in from taking a break on his show, and Kayla and I were kissing, and he's like, what else did you guys do? What did you do except kiss? I'm like, I don't think we did anything. We were just fucking around. No, I need to know what you, like, he needed to know what was, like, what he walked in on. And I'm like,
did you guys use condoms?
I'm taken care of. Like, I've had 3 kids.
Yeah.
So
you f***ed Miss Racket's bareback and busted in her.
I mean, is this a...
You did.
I alternated, a little of column A, a little of column B.
Come on.
Come on. You raw dogged her. You raw doctor.
Bro,
Glazed her, huh?
Condoms are gay.
You glazed her. You glazed her.
Did you go in the back door?
You know, I did
Any
not.
facials?
No.
Yes, there were.
No.
I saw your face. You facialed her.
I don't need
your
fucking
cum was all over Kayla's face.
Walter Cronkite Ashton over here going, oh, I've been investigating and your face.
I've been investigating and facial expressions that you give lead me to conclude you facialed his wife.
No, Noir.
No, I didn't facial Kayla. She's a sweet girl. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that to my babe. I couldn't do that to my babe.
You can just tell none of these men have skills in the bed or get much action.
Facials or whatever.
Big cook energy from Nick. Not that Aaron is any better. Of course, he isn't going to admit to any insecurities during this.
We need to know.
Like I said, boys, a little
Aaron is the ultimate cock.
Sash?
Not only did he let Nick fuck his wife, he also looked after the kids.
Was there cream pie?
He cleaned the house. He
Sometimes things just feel
food
good.
for them.
You don't need to,
And all it took for him to shut the fuck up was just have
69.
Kayla pay a little bit of attention to him. That's all it took.
Don't remember. I don't recall.
Don't recall.
You don't like the lawyer now?
You hear the fucking things I'm admitting to? No, do you hear the things I'm admitting to? Like I would fucking say, like I don't remember. You guys are asking a lot of things. I don't like how many questions you guys are asking about my sweet baby's pussy.
All right. No, that's fair. Well, Ash. By the way, and Aaron. I mean, like we did have Sean booked for 10 p.m.
Listen,
Eastern.
we're gonna push him back just a little bit.
Yeah. I was just saying. Yes. I'll tell him.
Let me ask you about something. So, in the reports from the jail, they said that Kayla asked for her prescription bottle, and there was like stuff in there was like a gummy and a couple other things that weren't supposed to be in the prescription bottle. Do you know what that was?
I don't. I will say this, and this isn't me trying to protect anyone or anything like that. I only ever saw Kayla take her her prescription medication. I mean, when it wasn't like when they were doing cocaine and everything, but like I only saw her take the pills that she took for those days. She had prescriptions that she took in the morning and in the evening for sleep conditions. That's all I ever saw.
I'm going to get into some of our super chats here just so that they have a chance. Chef Red Pill for 15 bucks asked, did Nick ever inject anything? If not, then how did he get sores on his arms? What drugs was he doing apart from coke and molly?
I only saw him do cocaine and molly. As far as the sores on his arms, I never saw him inject anything. The only thing I can explain that as is maybe scratching. I know his hands shook constantly. He couldn't stop his hands from shaking. But maybe there was scratching. I don't know. When I saw that in the police report too, that confused me because I don't. You got to remember, I've also been gone for 7 weeks, so there's a chance. I don't know. Anything could happen. But
what about
it's my testimony here is what I've seen.
What about the ketamine that the police found?
He talked about how he had done ketamine in the past. I was never aware of him having or taking ketamine.
Okay. What do you think about the brown that the police found?
That confuses me too. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know.
Or molly powder, right?
I mean, and the scale, I know the scale he used to measure out molly doses. You know, you got.
Yeah, the brown may be molly because it is brown at times.
What about the?
Molly wasn't brown though.
Ha ha ha! The trolls are going to have fun with that steel toe by now.
Do you think he was
He's
around
such
with
a tool.
guns, or did you ever see him around with guns, or what do you think?
Like I said, I didn't even know that gun was under the bed, or I would have said something about it. I don't think you should have just a loaded gun under your bed where your kids come and say goodnight. That's a little off.
Andy looking perpetually excited is taking me out.
Okay. Do you know anything about the Sonitude demon? Asked Coltergeist. What are your thoughts on that subject?
I've heard about it since the arrest. I'm not well versed in it enough. I just know enough to know I don't want one.
The Sonitude demon theory, and I want it to be true so bad.
But like, from watching all three of them, either publicly or privately, not take any fucking responsibility for what they've done, any amount of feeling bad I've had is kind of gone away because whoever I married, I watched her die a long time ago with all of this stuff.
How long ago do you think?
I would say we were fighting about drugs back in December. I remember telling her, I go, honey, you don't get into this. Like, it's gonna be bad news, you know. And she's like, it's only a little bit, and it's just to have fun. I don't see what the big deal is. And I go, honey, and she showed me how much she does. I go, but honey, it's gonna get like this and like this.
The curse theory is the best one, loudly crying.
And then eventually, like, we're leaving to go to a show in the morning. We had stayed at their house the night before. And it's 4 in the morning, and she's doing a line of coke.
I fucking love the internet, man.
Get up and do the coke in the morning. And then there's one day where I see her do 2 lines of coke before 8:30 in the morning, and I'm like, this is what I was talking about.
Do you think letting Ricada f your wife at all contributed to the divorce, or was it just going to be a divorce anyway?
I think going down this road sealed the fate of our marriage. Like, I'll tell people, if they're ever thinking of doing this because they think it seems glamorous and fun,
it belongs in a temple surrounded by a lake of liquid mercury.
And then you throw booze and drugs into the mix, you might as well just kiss your marriage goodbye. It's over. I honestly think that once you even suggest it, you're probably done. It's over, either consciously or subconsciously, because I want Kayla. Like,
all right. Well, Captain Cisco for 4 asked, did Kayla like Star Trek Enterprise, or what was her favorite show?
I know she hated Discovery.
Right.
Discovery she thought was too PC and shit, which I watched a few. You know, I
How is YouTube allowing all this drug talk to not get flagged?
I think she liked. Yeah, I think she liked Enterprise or the
current song. I know it's
the series
Pokemon.
Picard. She enjoyed that. And then the one that had Picard on it. I can't remember which one that was.
Next Generation. Okay.
Next Generation, yeah.
All right, so I'm glad we know a little bit about her Star Trek.
Yeah, you know more than me. I just downloaded a random playlist of the internet.
Did Nick ever talk about Ethan
But yeah, that's not a Pokemon.
He talked about Ralph once in a while. He would always kind of say that he was okay with him. Like, he and Ralph were okay. They were bad for a while, and now they're okay.
I'm gonna put something else.
Specific.
Did he tell you about the farting stream where he shit his pants on the stream?
No, he did not tell me about that.
Pretty funny story, by the way.
I've gotten in between you and Ethan apparently here with my dual appearances. I don't need to get any further in between you and
the Ethan. No.
How do you so we got a question here from the super chat. How do you think all of this is going to affect your kids long term and Ricada's kids as well?
Ricada's kids, if they don't get help badly, and I'm worried about it, hopefully they never get them back before they're clean. My children, my ex-wife and I have been on top of this. I've been seeing a therapist. I've learned some tools to talk to the kids about this. Luckily, they don't know too much. But obviously someday they might read about it. And my ex-wife and I have been very proactive in how we communicate that. She's actually been really good about
Who has the kids now? Do you know who has Ricada's kids?
Yes, and I'd rather not say.
Can you say? Just to end the speculation.
I don't want to, because all due respect to everyone on the internet, I don't need to be responsible for any lunatics doing anything.
Yes, swatting her or something like that.
Do you think that your kids will speak to CPS, or are you worried about a CPS investigation? Because you said that your 4-year-old was like touching cocaine.
She did not touch cocaine. It was sitting next to her, but yeah. No, I mean, I've been very open about everything, like I said, with my ex-wife and everything else. She knows all of it, and
a lot of people, yeah. Sorry.
It wasn't me who did it. So.
Yeah.
We got Vulcan who asks, Aaron, can you look at the camera and say, my name is Aaron and I've been felted? Let me see here.
I think he's gonna do it.
Retard actually did it.
My name is Aaron Imholt, and I've been felted.
Her words have never really been spoken. Okay, we got a question here from Figure again for 5. He says, how much coke would Nick take per day on average? You know?
Like, I don't know too much about it, but a lot.
How often did he buy, and how much did he get each time?
God, I don't know. I do have an interesting buy story though. It would be a few weeks ago. We were getting into this story. We never finished it.
Yeah. Okay.
Kayla was talking. Kayla and I had met up on neutral ground, and she said, "I've been clean for a few days." I go, "That's fantastic. I'm proud of you." And she said, when we ran out last time, I said, "That was it. We're not going to get any more." This again.
By the way,
is a story
I love the
got
Karen
from
Pig
Kayla.
Roach
That's
look
how I want to
winking
preface
face.
this. She said,
So
when we ran out, I
goofy.
said, "We're not getting any more," and Nick agreed. When we ran out, April threw a fit and said she would go by herself to go get more. And I told them, and Kayla said, I told them no. And then Nick and I had a fight, and he said, "I'm not going to let her go to Minneapolis by herself and, you know, go get more or anything like this. So I'm going to go with her," and blah, blah. And Kayla was really upset and dejected about that. Nick rationalized it, the whole deal. That was the story I got from Kayla. And I believe that may have been the actual package that they got busted with. So Kayla did try to get it to stop.
And then, did Nick share coke with anybody other than you and April?
Not that I ever saw.
Not that you saw.
Not that I ever saw. I can't say yes, can't say no, but not that I ever experienced or saw.
And how much did
I'll point this out. Nick never took money for any of it.
But I was going to follow. How much did he give away? Do you know?
It was always, he was gratis. He's always on the house, so to speak.
He was always giving it away. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see here. Who else asked a question? LawTube, somebody here says you really need to buckle up, Aaron, because LawTube is not going to be happy about this stream. Somebody here, Greed, says show text or it never happened. Well, I imagine the next step is are you going to be revealing text messages
on
to
your show or
corroborate
something?
this story? Because you have said a lot. So, people are going to be pressing you on this, and a lot of these people are like legal magicians. So
yeah, no, I do. I have an appointment coming up where all of that will be divulged. I'll give all of that away to the people. Yeah.
That shit's
you were saying you were going to talk to the police and basically tell them everything you need to tell them.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like watching how fucking smug he was at his arraignment and watching how fucking smug he is now. I mean, if those kids are gonna have any fucking chance, then there needs to be serious consequences.
I agree.
I agree too.
I agree. There does need to be very serious consequences, like at a bare minimum.
I need to like work on absolving myself of the shit I did and the things I didn't do to protect those children or protect anybody in that house and the role I played in it. So
how did you justify it to yourself to leave those children in a filthy drug den, Aaron?
Good question.
I had 3 kids of my own, and
that makes it worse.
I was looking out for mine, and I was removing us from the situation.
But you're 37 years old though, right, Aaron? Like you're a grown-ass man with 3 kids, and you decided to snort coke and open your marriage and let this guy f your wife and expose this degenerate to your children, and you never thought maybe I should be the one to report it? Maybe it shouldn't come down to the church pastor or whatever.
Tokyo Warfare Turbo is on sale Xbox for like $4. It's fun to mess around with.
Trigger.
Yeah, Aaron, you fucked
did
up.
have the balls
Tokyo Warfare Turbo
and fuck another man's wife.
I'll look it up. Thank you.
Phone
I'm not fighting you on that. Yeah. I'm not fighting you on that. It's a mistake.
You have some responsibility.
It's a mistake I made. It's shameful. Like the word I keep using is it's shameful. Like I
haven't really been paying attention since the initial explosion of info and the arraignment.
The rest of my life.
Do we know if April ratted on Nick yet? She was released from custody super fast.
As far as I know, we don't know yet, but that's the most likely case.
Everything else is
because
it's on hold.
we know that she chose not to be represented by Nick, and she left that jail or county jail, whatever. As soon as
everything we did was
I mean,
disgusting.
even
and unfortunately,
if you
only one person
just look at her mouth shots, she really looked. Yeah, for lack of a better word, upset.
Part of the kids not knowing
So
about
I think
the
she
drug use,
really
I find hard to believe as someone that had
got
family
a
that
reality
abused
check
drugs.
by getting arrested, and yeah, she's gonna
if they've had as little as 1 or 2
testify
beers.
against them.
So
Most
the kids
likely.
definitely noticed. I mean, like Rekida's kids.
Yeah, her and Aaron will most likely be testifying.
I don't know. I mean, because
they're rats.
I guess I'm saying I don't know because my answer would be, God, I hope not. I really hope not. But if they do, and if they did, then, you know, God help us all, because we're all pieces of shit for that coming out. It's funny, we were always worried about not showing affection to the other spouse in front of the children because we didn't want them to know about that part. But I will say this, I never saw drugs consumed in front of children. Okay. I will say that I never saw drugs used in front of children. It was always in the back, in the bathroom, of the master
Clip for 777 asks, Aaron, have you gotten a battery of STD tests yet? You should, and I would. And then 6 months ago from now, have you taken any sort of STD test?
I have had a few tests, and all systems go, boys.
All right, good.
Okay, that's positive.
That's a tough.
Yeah.
B. Dever, the one-armed bandit for 10 asks, Aaron, can you confirm he has a trust fund? Are you aware how much per week, per month?
I can only speak to its existence. I can't speak to amounts.
Was he on the board of the charity, or is it just like a tugboat, like cash infusion?
I don't know. I didn't get into his finances or anything like that, no.
Okay, we got Chef Red Pill. Is it true that Nick was giving his nanny $3,000 a month for snacks for his kids, or was he only buying snacks for his nose?
$3K a month for
what I do know
snacks.
is that Nick would complain sometimes that the nanny would turn in Walmart pills
Just
or grocery store bills for $3,000 in a month. That's what I remember of the $3,000 or $4,000.
Okay. I Punch Puppy for 5 says, you deserve this for leaving your first wife while she was pregnant with your 3rd child. How funny is this to her? You asked for this. Now, do you have, is that true that you left
Let's clear up the...
I heard it was bullshit, but go ahead.
Yeah, so April and I met 3 years after my divorce was finalized. That was over for a long time. I did cheat on my first wife. Total garbage.
Kids must be getting drugs for snacks too at that price.
We got divorced, and then while we were going through the divorce, we hooked up, and she got pregnant.
Why didn't she get an abortion
anymore? This was like
the
worst possible
drag another kid into
scenario.
This? What the hell is wrong with you? That fact alone makes me question the validity of the story.
My wife while she was pregnant, believe me, she was done with me too. Once she got pregnant, we had a weak moment while we were getting divorced. We took the kids to the playground, the 2 kids that we had at the time, and then when we came home, we went to the bedroom and we conceived another child.
Right. Anonymous for 10
Damn
asks,
Dublonk.
He says Minnesota got no snow this year. So
how can the
Snow Angel story be true?
Oh, we got some snow.
Almost finished watching the Aaron Amos interview on the Kino Casino.
Not everyone gets an abortion.
I mean, I don't want to show the I'm not.
Yeah, I mean,
oh god.
Good point.
Those pictures. Oh.
Carrot.
So you're implying with that you have nude pictures of Mrs. Rackets.
But yeah, that's so retarded.
I took this one in the morning after, and my dog had peed on the Snow
into
Angel.
That's
sick.
Do whatever you want. Don't track kids or cats or pets into your mess.
Yeah, that's actually true. Maybe she was pro-life, loudly crying.
Snow Angels.
Well, Nick also has plenty of snow, huh?
That's why we didn't get much.
I don't even know.
You do you, I guess.
This one must have been my Snow Angel. This looks like
the kids don't suffer.
No, the other one was Kayla's Snow Angel. I think that one was mine. I remember it being very cold. She dealt with it much better.
These stories have been wild. but not surprising, to be honest.
I'm gonna ask you again, just coming out of this break, are you planning on testifying in court if this should go to trial?
As Tommy once said in Shawshank Redemption, just give me that chance.
Whoa. He will testify.
I mean, you're of the opinion that Rekieta
implicated himself in all of this. Basically gave us a confession that he was part of all of this shit, this whole shit show.
That fucking stream where I know my wife was on it.
To save his own ass.
And then
be murdering kids' tears of joy.
The other two, well, not talking to, getting messages from the other two since they've been out of jail.
Like to
and
view
showing
it
that they
more
haven't
as a
learned
mercy.
thing from this. I didn't feel
Not
bad. Like, guys, I'll be honest. I was gonna
not just anyone is suited to be a parent.
Play him close to the vest here until Ashton went, "Come on, you know more." But it was.
Oh shit!
But once I thank you, buddy. Once I heard from all three of them, either Nick's public, disgusting codes, and then getting messages from the other two showing that all they give a shit is about me keeping silent so they can save themselves instead of admitting what they did wrong and repenting. Like, I'm the only one here who seems sorry for what I did. And I'm the only one who got away before I could get busted. But rest assured, if they would have, just listened to me on a couple of things, I probably would have been there getting arrested too. I mean, and as far as Nick saying to the cops that April was just visiting, then why, when she moved her clothes out of my house, did she put them all in the Rekieta's house? And why did Kayla say to me,
Aaron is salty tears of
furious, there's another woman who's moved into my house in my bedroom?
What have they
I don't know how much you know about this guy with two names.
Miri.
I think you guys saw on Twitter the April text.
Not only did he let Nick Rekieta fuck his wife, he even looked after his kids.
Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy.
She had this weird boilerplate text that she sent out to everyone.
He basically did everything an Nanny or May would do, and he let Nick come inside of his wife. So that's really, really funny.
Yeah.
And to me, that is such a fucking addict answer to something. Like, just this whole, I'm a victim.
Funny.
It was me. Like my friend Gino Bisconti said on his show yesterday, you were caught in a house with drugs, guns, and children. Don't say anything was done to you. Don't say you're innocent. You were handed a literal get out of jail free card. And also, this is what a great operator Nick Rekieta is. This is fucking brilliant on his part, the way he can prey on people. He told cops that she was just visiting, so the charges get dropped.
It's funny because those two are laughing at him, but he's too stupid to see it.
Instead of going, yeah, I gave you coke, I got you into this downward spiral, I helped you into this world of degeneracy, she'll now think, my white angel, my beautiful angel saved me when the chips were down.
Have you archived under the bus? Have you already archived all of the messages on the Signal app and everything? Because you should do that. Because
I'll be honest about the Signal app. A lot of those messages have been deleted by the other party. I screenshotted what I could. I didn't, because when they got but until they got arrested, I didn't think I'd need these Signal messages.
Yeah.
But on Signal, you can delete your messages so they can't be visible.
Right.
So by the time they got arrested and everything, I do have text messages from 2 of the 3 of them. I'm sure if I went back in my texts with Nick, I'm sure I have a few text messages, but Nick's a pretty slippery dude. He only operates on encrypted apps.
Yeah. Okay. Do we want to bring Sean on at this point?
Yes. And I was gonna say, real fast, my opinion, I think April, like the reason that she's not being honest is she's
how much of the interview is left.
She is gonna do whatever she can to be the victim.
I was planning on ending the stream after this, but I'm actually in the mood to keep it going.
Yeah, I'll sing.
So let's see what they.
Gino read a text from her that kind of blows Nick's story out of the water, and that was, she sent Gino a text that said, "When my life was hard, these people have given me a place to live." And that kind of conflicts. And the messages I got
from her, listen to this. I think I already have, but I don't remember.
And I don't want to.
How would you react, or how would you feel if she if she goes down to Mexico and fucks Ralph for drugs?
I'm glad it was after me.
Yeah, I mean, that's about the best answer you can give.
Right? That's
pretty much.
What do you think the likelihood of that is? Because she obviously wants to be like in an e-celeb type relationship, do drugs, and have no accountability. I mean, he would fit in well with the lifestyle she wants to live, right?
Are you I mean, you've got a pretty decent sized following there, Ashton. I mean,
Andy with the real questions.
Is that what you're recommending?
Face blue smiling.
no, you put the image of Ralph f***ing in my head and you upset me, so I was trying to throw it off on you.
All right.
And guys, did you catch this? So it was going to be use you are.
It's a lot of talk, I think, about Nick Ricky as a face.
But you know what else is fun? You know what else is
I don't think I'm gonna be. I don't think I'll watch the whole thing. Just see when I get tired of this.
The thing is that guys, I really started and you can go back watch my channel. I was getting shit from people for nose guarding. I was getting shit from the Kiwis. I was getting shit from everybody. Nobody was happy with me because I'm doing we're doing legal analysis, we're doing professional, we're doing down the line. But the more and more we got into not just the law, but also the
not really
facts,
enjoying the best reputation at the moment, thanks to Nick.
And now the crazy thing is, the Kiwis, they've done their homework. I told them, I said, hey guys, go out there. I challenged both of them. I challenged the Baldo guards and I challenged the Kiwis. I said, go out there and go get evidence and facts. Nick people, stop talking about friendship. Kiwis, stop just talking about random DJ shit that has nothing to do with the legal claims. Because it's funny on your stream, and you guys are, look, you're not a law stream. You guys are saying the things. The Baldo can be hilarious, but in this scenario, it's not about funny haha anymore. It's about facts. And the only people who produce the facts is Joshua fucking Moon and the Kiwi Farms, who have gone out and gotten 2 reports. They're gonna get the body cam footage, and I just signed it. Well, I'm about to sign it.
Josh is a giant fucking retard, but they really did do their work and stuff. So big ups.
They've done the homework. Nick's people are still saying friendship is magic like they're bronies. I mean, these guys are absolutely crazy.
I agree with you, but I would say this in defense of them. I think they've been getting the facts all along. To tell you the truth, all of their speculation, it's turned out to be true. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's unfair to say. I mean, we'll see as more and more and more and more comes out. We'll see that even more and more of what they said was true. But I wanted to bring you on because you're a lawyer, you understand this stuff, and the main issue and contention here is the probable cause.
Sure.
What is probable cause?
Okay,
and did this warrant meet probable cause? Because I'm basically being told that in order for there to be probable cause, we need like 4K footage of him snorting the cocaine, buying the cocaine. Like, can you explain this to us?
Sure. So, there's people out there like Viva Fry and Robert Barnes and a couple of other folks that they're a little confused about what that means. They think that means proof beyond a reasonable doubt. They think that means that we have to have a full criminal trial and a jury and facts that are absolutely verified and everything needs to be clear. No. Probable cause is literally just a threshold of more likely than not. It's just a 51% will get you there, right? Probable cause is not a slam dunk. And also, the other thing that they're doing right now, and this is the most damning thing they're doing, is they are taking it all in isolation. They never address all of the evidence cumulatively. They attack one thing, and they say, oh, this person, in fact, Nick has said this dumb idiot who is still commenting on locals, he's still commenting in group text, he's still commenting. No, we're gonna go there, but what I'm saying is, he is going with this theory of, oh, there's one person with animus. Well, guess what, Nick? Guess what? There's 5 people that reported you, and your own stream snitched on you, and stream snitched on you. All this evidence taken together needs to be defeated, not just one. In that search warrant to find probable cause, they look at the totality, they look at everything. You've got them literally, Nick showing up with the fucking dot. You guys covered that on your channel.
Yeah,
You guys zoomed in on.
I was crazy. No, I was
crazy.
Andy's insane. He was eating powdered donuts.
Well, honestly, Andy, if we're gonna trust you on one thing, if you're the expert witness on one thing, it's using coke.
It's
okay?
coke.
So, I mean, and you admit it. And honestly, Andy, I got a lot of respect
I'm the
for you.
powdered donut expert.
You're right, though. You're right. And you, Andy, you admit it, and you come out there and you say, yeah, you know, it's f***ed up.
But it was never
it's
around
horrible.
kids. There was no, like, it was, I f***ed my own life up. And remember, for 8 months, I was going, Nick, I've been here, I've been there, you gotta stop. It's gonna kill you.
Right.
And everyone's like, Andy, he's just drinking. And look, I'm not like, look, if you're gonna party and do drugs or drink alcohol, like, make sure you f*** your own life up. That's it. Like, it's
And
up
look,
to you.
I'm okay with that. If you want to ride yourself alone into a ditch, okay, whatever. That's your life. You can do that, right? But when you have kids and a wife, you've got different responsibilities. If you didn't want a wife, you should have had a divorce, and if you didn't want kids, you shouldn't have had a kid, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I know. So,
It's
like,
not that
'cause
hard.
it seems to me like Robert Barnes is trying to make it out to be that getting a search warrant is like impossible.
Robert Barnes has never gone at the lower level. And once again, look, I'm not the lawyer who's out there doing criminal trials, whatever. I actually was more of a property specialist. I'm a Florida lawyer.
Yeah.
But what I am good at is sorting through the bullshit and the good analysis from the bad analysis. And every lawyer who knows, Steve Gosney, Nate, Coleman, everybody else, all the other lawyers say there's probable cause. The only lawyers that don't, the only ones that don't are literally Viva Fry and Rob Barnes, particularly now, even like you guys said, Uncivil, who was on the fence, flipped. Now, there's a couple others that I will say don't want to comment. They're still in the Nick is my friend, and I don't want to talk about it. There's some of those guys, and a lot of those guys are doing that, by the way, because they were pulling from Nick even up to the end. They were in his chat. They were begging for redirects. They were begging for, followers. They have a lot of crossover. A lot of the same pay pigs are in his as theirs. So they're really worried about the backlash on that. And look, I get it. I get why they're shutting up. But Viva and Barnes, they've decided not to shut up and to publicly sweep for Nick. And that's where they're going to be f***ed, guys. That's where they're going to be
I want to go into, Andy, can you go into our legal mindset folder?
Yes.
And go into the folder called Barnes Coats.
You got your own folder, bud.
All right. I made it. I got a casino. Folder. Forget it. It's over, guys. It's over.
One of the very
I'm gonna tell my mom.
Your folder is positive. It's not a negative folder.
Not yet.
By the way, when I was watching your show last week, I heard you say felted. I'm like, let's go. He said felted.
I have no idea where I got. No, of course. Guys, come on.
There are substantial constitutional questions about everything connected to the Rekieta case. So there's been a lot of focus in LawTube on the substantive charges and those that want to make sure that Nick's health is in good state, and that's understandable. But I think LawTube should start to focus on the constitutional issues of what's taking place here. You have a high-profile critic of the local court system, of the local prosecutors, of the local police, suddenly being subject to an extraordinary search warrant raid and questionable charges that raise questions under the first.
So this is making this wild theory that Nick Rekieta in his channel is focused on local justice in Minnesota. Nick Rekieta knows almost nothing about local justice in Minnesota because he's done almost no local work in Minnesota for a very long time. So at what point, I mean, Nick, the non-practicing, I think Medicare's got the non-practicing stuff out there for sale, right? This guy is not out there defending high-profile local clients. He's defended some cases. He spoke out about Kyle Rittenhouse and Johnny Depp. Last time I checked, none of them were in Spicer, Minnesota. Right? Last time I checked, these are local people he's defending. So I don't know what he's done. The only thing he has done, the only thing he's a critic of, is his self-own. The only thing he did was he went out and badmouthed them because of the Montegraph case, which is because he got drunk and decided to talk about a judge, and this is not my words, this is his words, gushing alcohol out of her vagina, right? This is literally the words of a lawyer, Nick Rekieta, who said that about a judge, and now this judge is presiding over not just the case of
That's
monitoring,
so
but
funny.
also his criminal proceedings because he lives in a small county, a rural county, which is not untypical of a rural county. This is his a self-own. So when people talk about bias, or it's a biased judge, only bias was created by Nick Rekieta. It wasn't because this judge came out of here and out of nowhere and said this. No. In fact, we have zero statements of this judge saying anything about Nick Rekieta. The only we have is Nick Rekieta saying nasty things about them. If that was a standard in our legal system to disqualify a judge, oh, you just have to talk shit about them. Then you just talk shit about every judge and then all be disqualified.
I was about to say that. It's like if you're charged.
This is their defensive argument.
Whoa, let's go. Wow.
This is their argument. This is a big brain Barnes argument. Once again, look,
IDK much about the case though.
True. If you look at my stream the day before, I had a PowerPoint. I was willing to go through the Constitution and do a very nice, very nice DM to Barnes, saying, "Hey, you know, okay, let's talk about the Constitution. Let's do it. Let's do a lawsuit style.
The legal system would have a giant fucking problem. I think all you have to do then is just to insult
Sean a fucking grifter, and not only that, but he said Sean likes
anime.
Sean doesn't like
removed from the case. I don't think that's it.
I have that prepared. I have that folder
But
prepared
Nick
as
is
well.
in trouble for being busted with drugs, weapons, and kids in the same house.
Think about this, Ashton. Is this the guy you want to handle your case if he can't even get the fucking facts straight? The basic facts straight? Is this the guy you want to defend you?
He will never, his reputation will never recover from this. Even if he comes back from this
it's not like karmic rebalancing.
legal
Barnes is sucking him into a lawsuit
ruined.
that's going to be, you know, tilting at windmills,
Well, no,
you know,
so
like he did with Vic.
If he takes Barnes on as his attorney, this is going to trial, right?
Well, he would try to make it to go to trial. Yeah, sure. He would try to make it.
And what would the consequences potentially be for Rekieta if he took this to trial?
Well, first of all, we're all gonna fucking watch it.
Yes.
One, so
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
one. We've got a petition and watch.
see
You're
that
gonna have hundreds of, millions of views because everybody's gonna watch it. This might have a fucking Netflix special made out of it. I mean, this is the level of this. When Nick Rekieta, guy's got 500,000 subs. He was in the Johnny Depp Netflix special. The rise and fall of a lawyer on the internet, whatever. The rise and fall of the nose, the Baldo Pope, whatever you want to say. This documentary is going to be absolutely massive if it goes to trial. It embarrasses him, it embarrasses everybody else. The testimony will come out. It will look horrible for him. The thing he needs to do is, you know, get that plea deal as soon as he can get the plea deal and shut the up until then. Stay off the internet for the
He's
love of
definitely
God.
not going to be an attorney after this audio.
Calm the hell down.
Wait a minute.
We want to have Nick Rekieta represent you after this. I mean, he barely was a fucking lawyer before this. All he did was streaming.
What is your
Not the only time he did cover a case is when he fucked it up.
Legal mindset? More like legal sucker.
The dude was so high on drugs that he even missed a court hearing.
Murder me right now. The problem is, look, it's not even that just makes it even worse. That just shows you like the depths to which he has fallen, right?
Yeah.
Convicted felon show, sex offender show.
The depths to which you fall. But here's the thing: you got to stay off the internet. That's what I told Aaron. And guess what? Aaron actually just said he's going to stop doing podcasts because of what I said.
I saw that Twitter post. Yeah, like the video. Someone clipped
But
it.
isn't it too late?
Yeah, what do
He
you
already
think?
talked. He shouldn't have gone around and do it. Now, look, he was.
What's your thoughts about our show?
You guys are glad it was a good episode, all right, for you guys.
Yeah,
but it may not be a good episode for his criminal history. It's what it may not be.
Okay, what's all this you're saying? You were hinting at this on your show. I was watching it earlier. It was a great show.
It was great,
you did, and we're gonna repeat some of the same ground on this.
That's fine.
show.
That's fine. It's useful because not everybody watches my show. There's, you know.
But you were saying somebody had leaked to you that there's somebody going after Aaron to the sheriff's office or something like that. What's going on?
It's speculation. Once again, it's rumor, hearsay, grain of salt, right? You know, and people love to run out there and say, "Oh, I know exactly what legal man says." No, a lot of people are telling me information right now behind the scenes, and it's like, I heard that somebody might give information to the sheriff, which could implicate Aaron and Multi, right? So,
but was it Star Wars Girl?
No, it was not Star Wars Girl. Once again, it was not Star Wars Girl. It was not Anna. It was nobody.
Are you saying that Ethan Ralph told a lie? He is an honest man.
I can't with that fucking accent.
I love it. I love it.
I can't.
So somebody is trying to get him in shit now with the sheriff. Like,
That
how
guy
is
was
that gonna
opening his
work,
whole life
though?
up.
Because
He was
there's
waiting
no
and thought this was his time for a big
physical
break.
evidence, right? Of him
Loudly
doing the
crying
stuff
tears of
for
joy,
it.
true
Well,
dent
remember,
head.
remember, there's a lot of different things you could potentially get in trouble for. I mean, there's more. You can get convicted of something on any given day, right? And if anything,
people got to start from
he's
this
given
whole
statements to law
drama.
enforcement, right?
This
He
is
claims
going
he's
to
spoken
make
law enforcement.
channels.
Yeah.
And if any of his statements to law enforcement contradict one of the many streams he's had and many things he's had on his own show on the
Take
podcast,
Felicity Cliff, for example, because of that she's
so,
been
there's a
gaining
lot of
hundreds
stuff
of
going on there.
subscribers
There's a lot
a
of
day.
potential there. Also, once again,
Which
at
good
the
on
end
him.
of the day, he was there, from what we see at the supplementary report, living with the Ricadas, right? That's the assertion of this new report, is that he was living there, right? So there could be a chance that he could share some of the same charges that might have been levied at April, or even at the Ricadas, or different charges. So the point is that I would just be very careful with him. Look, once again, does it hurt to shut the fuck up? No. So shut the fuck up, right? Just wait. You've only got to chill. And I know for Steel Toe, I mean, you guys felt at Steel Toe pretty hard. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. He looked at the camera and went, I've been felted. Like, whoa.
It was a judgment-free zone of love.
I mean, I mean, it's nice. It's nice for him to come on. It was, great entertainment for him to come on and say it. But at this point, he really needs to go away, because I think he sees this, and I said this on the stream, and he actually acknowledged it. He's coming off as a clout chaser, a clout goblin, because this is his moment in the sun. This is the most views and clicks that Steel Toe's ever got. It's been on the internet for 13 years, and it's got 12K subs on YouTube. I mean, I'm sorry, like, Aaron, I know you see your moment in the sun, but it's not the thing you want to do. Not when there's criminal charges involved. I would step back and chill and maybe think about what you're doing with your life,
Yeah, I would say. I mean, the man was just in a swinger relationship,
Doing drugs and
doing
kids.
cocaine around children that weren't being fed and neglected.
I mean, he can read a book. He can read a book on how to give his wife an orgasm, and then the next time won't be so bad. So.
Oof.
Shot.
What did you think about him falling in love with Kayla? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I've said this on my stream, is that, with him, I generally think most things are okay, that he said are credible, right, generally, but, like, he's got two conflicting stories, and you guys said this, right? There's the sex god, Aaron, and I can't give a woman an orgasm, and you can't square that, like, you can't square those two, but, like, other than his perhaps exaggerating about his dick, like, other than that, I generally
this is what I think is the general outline of it is true. However, a lot of these details, well, they'd be too small to see. However, the general outline of it might be true, but most of the details he gave that made him look good are fucking bullshit. And I said to him, seems like you're the hero in all of these stories, right? And you're not the hero. You're a bystander who let all this fucking shit happen, if not like a willful participant. I mean,
you got cucked by Nick Ricada.
Well, what's f***ed is they're cucking each other.
Right, yeah,
So, like,
yeah, sure.
It's kind of crazy. Like, why are they like? I just, like, I tried to get him to walk me down the path of, like, how he made this decision, and it still made no fucking sense to me.
And they used the ball, though. They used the ball, though, at least
once again, and those details to me, and
That's
I've said
what I'm saying.
It's legally irrelevant, but the things that are starting to get relevant are the fact that he was there he was kind of taking care of the kids. So if he was watching the kids, I mean, technically I'd have to read the Minnesota statutes and check, but he might be liable for child neglect if he was serving in a caretaker role, right? And they were away and he was caretaking them, right? And was he using drugs at the time? Once again, be very careful about what you're saying on the internet. I'm not saying he's going to ultimately get charged or not, but I doubt that he has a promise in writing from the prosecutor not to prosecute him. These things don't happen. I mean, and I doubt he has that. So I would just be very careful about that.
To me, he comes across as kind of a simpleton, to be honest, that's digging his own grave.
Yeah, he's a dumb dog.
When I see a lemur, like, what is it, a lemming?
Retard will be more accurate.
I'm like, hey, don't run off that. And if it's already running at a top speed, I mean, you're just going to watch it fall.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish off this Barnes clip, and then let's go to a couple of the other things he's been saying.
Alrighty.
First Amendment.
Pretty wild.
Here, I'll rewind in a second.
suddenly being subject to an extraordinary search warrant raid and questionable.
How is it extraordinary? Like, how is?
Barnes' belief is that it's based on one Nick Rekieta stream and one dot on his nose or something. And that's what Nick Rekieta believes. That's what Barnes believes. Barnes believes Rekieta was rated based on one podcast, and he's convinced, and he continues to, and then he'll go out and attack the one anonymous reporter, but he never puts it together. He never says, well, blank plus blank isn't enough, right? He always goes after one, after the other, after bit by bit. That's why he's saying it's extraordinary. And at this point, he was kind of getting ahead of his skis. He was talking about this before we had both the documents which Joshua Moon produced on the Kiwi Farms, right?
In front of the show, yep.
So yeah, no, I mean Josh has done good work. He got the evidence, he got the contacts, and he's got the attorney. I spoke to his attorney. He's a sharp guy. I mean, he's got more practice in Minnesota than Nick ever has. So it's just it's absolutely it's absolutely funny to see them putting up the evidence and Nick's side just losing the plot. So in this case, he doesn't really have that argument because he's just picking off one specific piece of evidence. And this is what every other lawyer has said. This isn't just me. This isn't just Legal Mindset. Every other lawyer who's talking about this and doesn't have Nick's Baldo in their mouth has said the exact same thing.
Yeah, and I heard the footage was $3,000 because they have to censor like 50 body cams and
going to fundraise for that. So Josh is going to fundraise for that and get that, which is great.
I'll pitch.
Because well, think about it, guys. Think about it. When Nick Rekieta, as soon as we get that body cam footage, he is either DOA or he's proven completely innocent in this massive government conspiracy. Because he has said in multiple places, that is nothing about the kids. He never neglected the kids. The kids are great. Everything is fine with the kids, blah, blah, blah. If we see any of this evidence, even a single piece of it's dirty. We see the kid asking for clothes, officer, can I have clothes? Which frankly, PvP, that fucking broke me. Like that, reading that fact almost broke me. And
it makes me pissed, and like it genuinely makes me pissed. Like I know I'm very performative and theatrical on this show.
It's a genuine. That moment, that fact is a reason to get angry, and that's justified.
All right, let's finish this clip off because he's gonna. Here we go. He's gonna
charges that raise questions under the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, and even the Sixth Amendment to the U.S.
Okay. Pause. Like, what the f is he talking about?
Yeah, he mentioned some amendments that are like, wait, what the f? So, like, the first amendment was a questionable one. I guess he's trying to say, like, his streams are First Amendment protected, but it's not First Amendment protected to do cocaine. So, like, it is about
he's not being charged with hate speech, which is a real charge here in Canada.
Right. This isn't a defamation case where he's arguing First Amendment. Maybe he's confusing the Monty case. Maybe he's adding that in here. I don't know.
Okay.
Like, what does this have to do with the Sixth Amendment?
Well, the Sixth Amendment, there's some procedural stuff, but it's a weak thing. We kind of dismissed that one.
Yeah.
When we all talked, but also the counsel thing. And look, us lawyers, we spurg over law arguments all the time. We go after we can present weak arguments and strong arguments. But like some of these arguments are dog shit. And that's what the lawyers on my stream put together. We're like, yeah, the Sixth Amendment argument is dog shit. Eighth Amendment, not that great. Maybe there's a little bit on the bail, because they do bail in a wonky way and you shouldn't have to give up your gun rights for bail. But like, other than that, the arguments are pretty weak, other than maybe Fourth Amendment. But on the Fourth Amendment, he has like a 5% chance. That's what we've all come up with. We all agree on this, 5%.
What in Barnes' mind would be a reasonable
He doesn't believe there's a reasonable search because he believes no government search should ever exist.
Okay.
Right? That's Barnes' point.
No,
he's committed to this. He's committed to a particular point, and he believes if you're using drugs, you should be free to use them, and the government should never be able to search.
If kids are being trafficked and there's a reasonable suspicion that kids are being trafficked, this
is what really pissed me off. Is it seems like his version of America, to me, is the very definition of like a demonic version of America, where those who are helpless can get no help.
It's an anarchistic version, right? Like it's the libertarian extreme of like pretty much anarchy. So, if the kids are in trouble, well, that's just survival of the fittest, right? I mean, that's the Barnes world.
Isn't that it? I mean, that's fucking insane.
That's crazy.
And this really is exposed because I, at one time in life, would have described myself as a libertarian.
Sure, yeah, so have I at some time. So sure.
And I still have a lot of I don't know what to say, sympathy towards those views, but it's stuff like this that really, and I think that people are starting to learn, like, what I thought libertarianism is not what these people fucking think it is.
No.
Like, this is like sheer like lawlessness. Like, how can there be law and order in a society? Like, I guess there just isn't in his version of society, right?
I mean, he advocates for essentially a very, very free, like Carlos Anarcho libertarianism.
Does he believe in driver's licenses?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I don't know.
Like, I just don't know.
He might debate you on that.
Because that's the sort of shit that made me go like, whoa. Like, you don't believe that we need a license to drive?
Wait,
like,
what? You said that?
I need permission to travel. That's one of the sovereign citizen arguments. Like a crazy person like Darrell Brooks, which is one of the trials, the last successful trials of Nick Rekieta, one of the last successful trials. The irony is the most successful trial will be the trial of Nick Rekieta.
It really will be. It really will. All right, let's finish this off. Let's finish.
Sorry. You guys got such good stuff. Get me rolling. Don't get me rolling, guys. Don't get me rolling.
You're actually awesome. You're phenomenal.
You rule, dude.
You
rule, man. Yeah, and by the way, everyone go sub to him. I've been watching your shows the last few days. They're great, dude. Like, they're...
I'm not mixing alcohol, cocaine, and ketamine, so I'm doing all right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Constitution. Within 2 days of this case, there are major constitutional questions about the conduct of the government.
All right, calm down. But not the conduct of Nick. Not the conduct of Nick. No, he's fine.
But what?
He rules.
The constitutional concerns, like, I don't.
Well, all right, I thought it would be a good defense, but I gave it a good faith effort. But he's come out time and time again with these bad takes. And I said, and I've discovered over the last 2 days, and once again, I'm willing to give it a fair shot. I've had people send me like 1 or 2 cases that trying to defend Nick's point of view or find a way out, and they just haven't been good. None of the objective evidence has been good. You know, drama and hyperbolic statements aside.
Let's look at this take from Barnes. He goes, wrong again. They found no drugs anywhere in the house in the presence of kids. They found it only in the parents' bedroom and almost all in a safe. Same with the guns. Turned out a bunch of folks jumped to false claims once again. Jesus what do you make of this defense?
It's so fucking stupid. I mean, once again, the kids are in the house. They're doing the drugs there. They're doing the drugs like at the residence where the kids are. Now, yeah, it's a big house, but hell, what we've heard is pretty cluttered. So probably the free space is pretty limited, right? Because the place is a fucking pigsty from what we understand from multiple documents. And we'll also be able to confirm from the body cam, by the way, guys. I want to see the state of that house. I want to see when they go in there, what does it look like? Is there fucking dishes everywhere? Are there flies? Are
mold.
there, mold? Is there dirty clothes? And this is what I'm saying. Before trial, Nick Rekieta will be damned in the court of public opinion, and ultimately at the trial as well. But when that comes out, when Josh Moon and the farms get that, it's gonna be tough for old Nick.
And we're gonna do a 4-hour frame by frame pointing at every.
It's gonna be 8 hours. That one's gonna be 8 hours, guys.
I want to point something out about this because Barnes has said like he's sticking strictly to legality and he's sticking strictly to looking at this through a law lens. But what sort of application to the case does the presence of kids being around the drugs even really have? Outside of the child abuse charge, like the coke is in the house, isn't it?
It's relevant to the neglect charge. So they do need to like if the kids were at another house, if they were living with if they were actually living with the grandparents at the grandparents' house, then yeah, they can't charge them with that because the kids aren't there, right? They're not at that residence. But if they're at the residence, they're presumed to be about the residence and around the residence. And as we saw from the supplementary report, the kids were all over the house. They're in various parts of the house. Some of them were with the mom, some were not with the mom, some were very young. So you'd imagine that when, Kayla is in the K-hole or when Nick is fucking schnozzing up some Colombian booger sugar, that, they're going to be walking around and the kids are going to be there. Even if the kids aren't handing them the snort tube, that's not what's required under the law, just because they're doing it, at that residence around the kids. And mind you, this this sort of behavior was documented kind of around the house. And that was documented also in some of the footage, which is kind of the footage is telling on themselves, right? You know, those YouTube streams and the Steel Toe streams were telling on themselves because we saw those were included in the actual search warrant. So this analysis falls short, and it's not going to ultimately prove it. And look, once again, let's say we got rid of the neglect charge. Let's pretend we got rid of it. They've still got the drug charges. And by the way, they still have the gun charges too. Yeah. Right? So like you're not, just because you knock out the neglect charges doesn't remove the drug charges. So, you know, people in this case, they keep trying to knock out one charge, and maybe there's some wild theory or something that can knock out one, but I've yet to hear somebody with a theory of the case that knocks out all 3 claims.
Oh, and also one thing, real fast, and almost all in a safe. Almost.
Yes, not all of it. Not all of it.
He almost was legal. It was almost legal, guys. It wasn't fully not legal. Just gonna point that out there. All right, here we go.
Really wild.
What do we got here? What do we got here?
A cop reported that a pastor said that an unidentified preschool teacher said none of the kids are in preschool as 6 to 16 years old. That unidentified children said they were hungry and wearing the same clothes. LawTube converted that into OMG, children went to cops and said abuse. This is why fourth-hand hearsay isn't reliable or admissible. What do you think of that?
Sorry, I didn't read this one before. He said so much bullshit, it's hard to
I know.
That's why it's so funny. Because here's the thing. This is the thing. It wasn't just the children, right? And this is the ridiculous. Well, first of all, we've gotten the supplementary report that was not just the children telling their teacher, it was their objective observation of the children. The children were observed to be dirty, were observed to be smelly, were observed to be wearing the same clothes. So that's an objective observation. There's this whole theory that like they prodded that the preschool teacher was like, you know, out for Nick, and they like, you know, had these leading questions and they were forcing them into it. No, 5 people, 5 objectively observed things that went towards the children being neglected, right? Dirty clothes, smelling, hungry.
In one of the documents, didn't the aunt of the children come forward as well?
It might have been the document. It lists them, but it's not clear exactly. It's not clear exactly what information they specifically provided. But once again, there's multiple sources here, guys. So this is not just one person. We had to be clear. In the report, the supplementary report that came out today makes that clear, that there were at least 5 people from the church, right? 5 people from the church, right? That is a significant number. It's not just 1 or 2 people. And these people are observing Nick walking out during sermons with the marks on his arms, right? Which is backed up by law enforcement, which by the way, has photos, which by the way, are gonna come out of Nick's arms. And you better believe, if you think you guys zoomed in on the schnoz, right? You better believe there's going to be some zoom on those arms.
And what we saw today, you know, all of those churches' sermons are also taped. So we can
there was some Kayla, right? There was a little bit of Kayla looking strung out. I saw 1 or 2 photos. Yeah.
And then also Ricada was shaking as well. It looked like uncontrollably in the pew. Yeah. And there's hundreds of hours of these sermons available on the YouTube channel for people to go through as well to observe.
And I'm sure the Farms is on it, you know, I mean.
And they are.
But the thing is that like beyond that, this is what I asked my chat. And I said, guys, I've got people that are, I have Nick stand, and my chat's very even. I have Nick stands, and I have you know, Kiwis, and I've got people who hate Nick and don't like Nick or are mixed or whatever. I've got everybody in my chat, right? And I asked my chat, we had 12,000 live viewers. And I said, how many of you think Nick looks strung out objectively on his streams over the last few months? That was my question. 96%. Yeah. 96%. And we have the Nick defenders in my chat. 96% said he looked like, objectively, right? Because in the report, we had the law enforcement looking at his streams and saying, they're seeing what you guys were seeing, what you guys called out, right? What Andy called out, saying, I was on coke, that looks like me.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's not even just
that's
his...
what the cop said. That's what the cop said. He said, this looks like a guy who's on drugs.
Also, it's not even his visual, too. The way he was breathing, I'm telling you. I've been around people who've done coke. The way you could, like, I always say, it sounds like you're breathing through...
Andy, I'm from Miami, man. Cocaine cowboys. I've seen this shit.
Yes, it sounds like you're breathing through a small straw. That's what it sounds like.
And I don't know if we brought this up, but the cop who did it, he brings up in his report his extensive training and expertise in this area.
15 years.
And look, yeah, okay, Nick, okay, sorry, Barnes, you can maybe knock out one thing, maybe knock out another thing, but you're literally trying to sell a theory. The teacher's against him, the pastor's against him, all of the cops are against him, right? Everybody is against Nick Rekieta.
It sounds like he's O.J. Simpson. Like,
well, guys, I patented if the Baldo doesn't fit, you must have quit. I was the one who was putting that out there first because you guys put O.J. Simpson, and I was like, what is this? The Baldo doesn't fit, he must have quit. But like, guys, I mean, he is not. No, he's not some sort of super sympathetic. It's not that same scenario. He's not going to get off.
Like, he doesn't have the race angle, and he doesn't have the celebrity angle. Like, I'm sure they'll try and push that, but he's not a household name.
And he's a Medicare said it best. He's a mini e-celeb.
Yeah.
Mini e-celeb. Mini.
And we're like micro. And there's
micro.
Like,
you're the micro team.
Yeah, we're the micro. You know, like none of us are huge.
You might call it the Aaron. No, I'm joking.
We're the Aaron of Cox.
I'm joking, Aaron.
Seriously, like I just
don't talk to police.
Like, do you think, this is just a personal question, but do you think that with Rekieta's state of mind being what it is now, that he actually believes he's going to get like this OJ level defense and get away with it all?
He's losing it right now. And he's totally unpredictable. And Andy, you know this. You know, I mean, when you're in that, right? Andy,
buddy,
dude,
think.
Are you thinking rationally? Are you thinking rationally when you're there?
Look, I'll explain. When at first it's like whatever, right? Like the first few times you do it, first few weeks, maybe even months. At a certain point, a sound will be like, oh, someone's outside. Well, oh my God, someone will say something and you'll be like, wait, are you talking about that? And it's like you create false narratives from like sounds, even just thoughts. You'll hear someone's name and be like, no, it's weird.
Speaking of that, I wanted to go to a clip from your show. I think it was yesterday.
Oh, sure.
If we go back out into the legal mindset.
Sure.
So much has changed, guys. Like 24 hours.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm actually in stream now.
A week in normal news.
Go to number 3.
Kind of done.
Over here, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And this was fun. I'm glad I did that stream.
The worst thing too is
watching
tell you this because
Aaron interview was really fun.
We'll talk about this after this.
I'll send you guys off with a bit of music. Thanks for stopping.
I'm going to tell you something that I know right now
swinging by today.
Because I'm actually just looking at it right now.
Let's go to the God system.
Nick.
Pre-bag music on. Gout systems checking. Gout system loading. Gout system online. Buffing snorts. Snorts loaded and ready. Scaling for wheelchairs. Targets found. Loading drum. All systems checked.
Rainbow flag, rainbow flag, rainbow flag, rainbow flag.
Parts loaded and ready. Scaling for wheelchairs. Targets found. Loading drum. All systems checked. Gout system loading. Gout system online. Gout system online.
This channel has some of the best aesthetics. Whoops, had my mic still on.
Thank you, I'm doing my best.
Gout. Gout.
BEE red heart rainbow flag transgender flag throwing kisses.
Gout system online. Gout system loading. Gout system online. Gout system loading. Gout system online. Gout system loading. Gout system online.